You know what that sound means. It's time for some Midnight's Edge. Yeah. We got Toxic Femininity coming up, but before that, I think Mary and I are going to sit down and talk with you guys in the chat, see how you guys are doing. We had a little miscommunication on when the show is going to start, so we thought we'd give you a little special bonus. Maybe it's something we'll do from time to time. You
Little
never know. What do you think? Yeah, so how you doing, Mary?
I love it. How are you, Tom? I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing peachy.
So much stuff to talk about tonight and a lot to fit into just a few hour-long show. So we thought maybe we would come on a little bit early and just kind of pregame with you guys a bit, especially since we do have some additional topics to talk about. So much stuff in the news right now regarding Golden Globes and Star Wars specifically. A lot of rumors flying around all over the place. So
I heard a vibration.
yes, my phone.
That reminds me, I better check my phone. I don't even know where mine's at. I probably left it somewhere. That's fine. But yeah, Golden Globes were last night. Rickey Gervais came out with bang, you could say.
Yes.
And Star Wars news left and right. We thought it would be all over once the movie came out. Oh, little did we know.
No. Well, a lot of it is speculation and rumors. So we will preface this with that a lot of this, guys, we can't confirm, but then again, we couldn't confirm the leaks before they came out either. So let's just keep that in mind as we have this discussion. Of course, we can't confirm this stuff, but it's certainly noteworthy and certainly worth talking about. So we can get into that a bit beforehand. And we do have an article post. I don't know what you would call this SNS thing.
Yeah, I tried figuring out who these people were. I couldn't find anything.
We can't
find anything on them.
Completely bizarre. It just sort of came out of left field. We tripped across this. I think it was Doomcock that originally tweeted it out. Is that right?
Yeah. It was Doomcock who tweeted this one out. But ironically, you and Lethal Lightning, I think, have brought the original Reddit leaks to light, if I'm not mistaken. And then you guys did a quick show, and then you guys did a Geeks+Gamers stream, and the next thing you know, the next morning it's trending, and NBC's covering the news, and some of the other outlets are covering the news. It was just really strange how it all kind of came about.
It's just been a really well, and I have to give full credit where it was due. I was tagged in this post on Twitter. It was by Brer Raptor. So again, thank you so much for tagging me that. I'm just doing my best to pay attention when you guys tweet at me, when you at me. I definitely try to keep an eye on that stuff. So big props, big thank you to Brer Raptor for bringing that to my attention. And yes, I did manage to get in touch with Jeremy pretty quickly. We got on it, I would say, within an hour or an hour and a half or so of learning of the actual post. We got on there, we got to discussing, then we got it trending, then we got it talked about in the mainstream news, the mainstream media where yes, no, hold on, I have to give credit.
I know, I was gonna say, you probably want to.
This is a green screen. If you guys know Anna, that Star Wars girl, this is her old backdrop. She's a wonderful person. Thank you so much, Anna, for letting me use the backdrop. This is a green screen, but I admire Anna and I appreciate her allowing me to use it. So but yes, my room is, well, I have a lot of fan stuff back there too, but it's not conducive to streaming. So, so yes. But yeah, we had a lot of stuff come to light, or a lot of stuff certainly to discuss about it. And we did go over the Reddit post over there. And you could call it a conspiracy theory, or you could say it just makes some damn sense. Makes sense to me. So we do have this SNS Smart article here. Do you want me to pull it up, or?
Yeah, go ahead and put that up while you're doing that. I got a super chat here. Kevin sent us $5. Said, I love this show. We need more of it. I agree, but I already run these ladies ragged. God, I can't talk already. I already run these ladies ragged. I don't know if I could make them do another show.
Yeah. Well, we love being on here with you, Tom, and it's a lot of fun and very wonderful. So yeah, so this is a new post from a user that none of us are really very familiar with, and it sort of came out of left field. And of course, big props to Doomcock for catching this. Again,
Doomcock.
Rumor and speculation, guys. Rumor and speculation. So keep that in mind. That's where this discussion is going to be for the next little bit here. So the 192-minute J.J. Abrams Rise of Skywalker cut is coming sooner than you think. And again, we cannot, this is movie rumors by Shanna or Shauna, January 2nd, 2020. So this is a couple days old, but it's just coming to my attention here. 3 hours and 12 minutes. According to anonymous sources inside multiple organizations like Lucasfilm, Disney, and Bad Robot, and confirmed through additional reporting like Deadline's interview with the Rise of Skywalker editor, Marianne Brandon, J.J. Abrams and the Rise of Skywalker team struggled with wanting to release the cut that more closely matched the director's vision, but were disallowed from doing so. That cut, the J.J. Abrams cut, clocking in at no less than 192 minutes, and that is a beast of a film, no doubt about it. But why, if there was a more complete cut that could include all of the amazing moments J.J. wanted fans to see, would the final theatrical version be less than? For what inane reason would such a short-sighted decision have been made? The reason Disney brass were so concerned after The Last Jedi divided fans and created a maelstrom of anger towards director Rian Johnson that they didn't want to leave anything up to chance. And yet somehow what you handed us was a complete shit show. So an insider tells the story is not the story, that they wanted to ensure that The Rise of Skywalker wrapped up the trilogy neatly, which you failed to do, without creating any conflicts with fans of the original 3 films. But you still managed to do that by bringing back Palpatine. That is the biggest conflict, I think. Don't you, Tom? With everybody with this sequel?
Oh, yeah, and we'll definitely, I'm sure, get deeper into that as we get into the Reddit leaks through the show proper when we get to other ladies on here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was one of the biggest points of contention, I think, with just about everybody. And I mean, once you get into the leaks and we hear a little bit more, and well, the prior leaks, we learned a little bit more about the J.J. Lucas cut, which had Matt Smith as the villain instead of Palpatine proper. And I keep using that word tonight for some reason.
So I'm scrolling down here a bit because I want to kind of get us to the meat of this, of what this actually means, that we may actually be getting this JJ cut. And perhaps this was the plan all along. We're not sure. It could be, though, that this was the plan, that the game plan had worked on in-game. And as early as December 28th, the rumblings started to grow louder. What about releasing the extended version of The Rise of Skywalker into theaters? So around late January, after the fanboys and girls had already paid to see it once or twice, the plan would be to release a longer version that included 3 to 5 additional sequences. Then hint at the even longer director's cut for its digital and home entertainment release. With an exclusive run on Disney Plus, they would draw even more engagement by keeping those added sequences not in the re-release as exclusives to the service. That would clearly drive even more subscribers to the new streaming service as well. And they're going to need that, because people are abandoning Disney Plus in droves after The Mandalorian has ended. So a lot of people just aren't hanging on to that service. So here we sit with the JJ cut trending and the internet abuzz, wondering what's real and what's next. The word is this: an extended version of The Rise of Skywalker will be announced in the coming week, releasing near the end of January and including 3 to 5 additional sequences fit into the narrative. This should bring the cut up from 142 minutes to about 165 minutes. So they're essentially planning on doing an Avengers Endgame plan here, guys, that if this article or post or whatever you want to call it is true, that this will come out in the next week or so, that they're going to essentially try to pull an Avengers Endgame on us.
I predicted this too.
You did.
I totally called this. I said, if it looks like they're going to need that extra punch to get them over that $1 billion, they'll do this. Or maybe at this point, they got to shoot for that 1.5, because I think that's what everybody's kind of sat down and figured the math on.
Well, and it's really the only way to shut the haters down. It's really the only way to shut us down.
Well, right.
Menace, to say that this was, but I personally don't think that that's a win. I think that's, if anything, an admission of defeat.
Well, not only that, you have a mixed bag with this one, because there's a lot of members of the Fandom Menace who enjoyed this movie. You know, I mean,
likely to go see the JJ cut. I think. I don't personally feel like this is something to get super excited for. Not personally.
Well, right, and this will kind of feed into what you ladies talk about when we get into the regular part of the show here, when you get into the latest Reddit posts. And again, I think this is kind of from a different perspective. This seems very odd. It doesn't really jive with the other side of it as far as like Disney and JJ working together. But what does match up is the 3 different versions, which is in the other leaks, which, as we covered in our Midnight's Edge video, would mean there was 4 different versions of the movie, adding even more credence to the fact that there could have been 6 different endings, as we reported as well.
And all of them a shit show.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's what our source told us, is that it didn't matter. They all tested poorly. They all were shit. And that's basically what these last 3 cuts are, longer versions of the same shit we got. Now, the Lucas cut, the one that wasn't complete,
that was better.
Well, we don't know for sure. We've heard various rumors.
Conceptually speaking, and I admit that I'm just speaking for myself here, but I believe that it was a better route to take. I actually got excited when I heard the leaks about that it would be focusing on the Dagger of Mortis, that it would be focusing on the son from the Clone Wars, that you would get this, that Snoke would finally make sense, that he would have actually been the villain, and that they would have been able to move forward with this in a way that did adhere to canon more cleanly, at least, if you like the Clone Wars, and I certainly enjoyed it, that this would have moved forward in a way that would have worked for a lot of fans, at least if they'd executed it properly. And so that was something I was legitimately excited for when I heard about it, but they abandoned that because J.J. Abrams said to them, this is not going to please everyone. So they freaked out and decided to go a different route. And that's when the company mandates started coming down.
Yeah, and that's one of the few things I think that's kind of across the board in all the stories, was that JJ said that and everybody panicked. And I think here's the thing. I heard this version tested poorly, the JJ Lucas version, and I also heard it tested the best of all 4 cuts. So that one's pick your poison. I'm trying to stay as unbiased in this situation as I can, because I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. Like Rob and I and Mecca and all of us have all been trying to kind of scour the internet, trying to find, because if we can just get proof that Matt Smith shot, that will add so much legitimacy to this whole entire mess. Because if we can find some kind of proof that Matt Smith was on set, shot the part, whether it was the son of Mortis or some variation thereon, or maybe a descendant of Palpatine or whoever he was.
What kind of a freaking agreement does he have to be under to be able to not, or to be able to admit something like that? Or I'm wondering what would it take for something like that to come out?
Well, he probably signed an NDA before anything anyway, so that covers a grand scheme of things, to where even if he can't talk about it at all, I'm sure. And if they told him, you can't speak about it, as far as you aren't in the movie. So yeah, I'm sure if he got paid. That part's probably true, but again, we just have to have some kind of proof that he was or wasn't. I mean, and he hasn't really strictly denied that he was never a part of the movie. His answer was really ambiguous. It was kind of like, yeah, as far as I know, I'm not in the movie. So yeah, I think this will be interesting to see if we get a JJ cut in theaters.
I mean, I don't know that I would put it past them. It's certainly not the first attempt they would have made. So precedence has been set here. So I think it's altogether likely that we are probably staring. I won't be surprised if we get an announcement here in the next week or two that they're releasing the other cut, right? Because it would make it, a lot of people would be like, yes, we knew it. And they would go see it, if only on principle, right? Like, we knew it. We were right. Right. Well, I would personally caution you guys to go do something like that, because let's think about this. You're still going to wind up getting what you got. They're only adding, if this winds up being true, an additional 3 to 5 sequences. You're still going to get basically the same movie, right? Just like you're not just basically, you're still going to get the same movie.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Perhaps some extra context, perhaps obviously some extra sequences, but you're still going to get the same movie. It's still going to have the same problems. So you have to ask yourself this: is that what you want to support? Is that something that you actually want? Do you want to play into that hand? I wouldn't put it past them to do it. And I think they probably would.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that makes this whole thing seem weird is this issue between JJ and the studio, because if JJ knew this was the plan all along, or this was kind of the plan, I don't see why anybody in his camp would go out, or he would even prompt anybody to, unless
they planned it all together, unless this was literally the plan to validate him, right? To because it works well for him either way, right?
Do you think Disney would go along with that though?
Oh, sure they would if it makes them look better in the long run. Hey, we're team players. Yeah, not only will we acknowledge the cut, we'll release it. They win all around. This is a win-win for everybody, right? They get extra money. JJ is vindicated, right? He gets to come out and say, see, it was a better movie than you thought. And I'm sure that the movie itself will probably be less of a train wreck. I don't think that'll make it good, but I think with extra sequences, that was one of the big complaints, is that it was such a train wreck. A lot of things didn't make sense. You got Finn running around going, oh, Ray, I gotta tell you something. And he does that over and over again, and you never find out what the hell it was. You got Lando talking to a complete stranger on this blog here, and they're discussing her appearance. Why are you talking to this complete rando about this? So I think they're going to stick in that moment where Lando becomes her daddy, where Finn explains what he's trying to tell her. Oh, now all of this stuff makes sense. Some things will be a bit more cohesive. It may make a less structurally devastated film for people overall. And so then JJ can be vindicated. Disney gets more money. The fans are happy because, hey, we were right? The conspiracy theory is valid. And then everybody feels as though they've walked away winning in this scenario. But people who have genuine problems with the canonical issues in this film are not necessarily right. The Fandom Menace still stands where it stands, I think. So
right. And Jake Kenny says, so how about that Ricky Gervais speech? You know what? I think that means, what do you think, Mary? I'm sure this will come up probably in the later discussion anyway. So why don't we bring in the rest of the ladies and get this show started?
Yes.
I want to say hi to everybody in the chat who's been so nice to hang out with us in this pre-show. The early birds get the worm. You guys got to hang out with us a little extra time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm taking a look at the chat here. So I see Bianca fights the zombies. Ricky Gervais is the GOAT. He is absolutely the greatest of all time. We are going to get into that discussion tonight with the rest of the girls. That is top of the conversation. So we're absolutely going to be discussing that tonight. I won't bother seeing it. I'm sorry, Wandering Jedi. I won't bother seeing it. It's for gaining money. It's gaining for money. Yes, absolutely. This is an attempt to gain money. This is an attempt to manipulate the audiences into getting them over that marker, to getting them at least past The Last Jedi. I think they'll call that a success, because as it stands, it's not going to make that much money. And it is a failure by any real reasonable metric, I think. Sitting here and looking at how much downward this has fallen, how far down this has fallen. So, Slithering Peanut, love you guys and girls. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I'm glad to see you here. I am over on the main one looking at the chat. I'm not sure if you're highlighting stuff.
I am here and there. I'm doing my best to keep up with you when I could, but what do you say we get the other ladies in here? Why not? Absolutely. Let's get this show started right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get Toxic Femininity.
Proving that the Fandom Menace isn't just toxic white males, it's Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge, with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself, Miss Mary Mayhem.
Out there, look what we have here. We have our full panel.
Hello.
And with us once again is OG Star Wars. How are you doing?
I am doing great. And how are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Glad to see you ladies here.
All right.
So, do we want to get on with introductions?
Yes. So, since we already started with OG Star Wars Legends Gal, let's start there, right, Mary? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. I am so glad to be here with you again. I am your Legends gal, trying to make it in this discounting world, Alora Baga, OG Star Wars, and I am pleased to be here with you guys.
Alora,
right.
Guys, Alora is the place to go check out if you like that expanded universe and if you enjoy the older content. With the stuff Disney didn't jack up, she's the place to go.
Absolutely. And I don't know, you're kind of cutting in and out there, Mary. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody's hearing that or but okay. Anyway, we'll move along. Geeky Candy, how are you doing tonight?
Hey there, you guys. So good to see you guys. First time of the new year. I am just, I love this new time slot. I'm excited. And tonight I'm feeling about as toxic as a man thinking boys should be boys. Yes. Ready to dive in with it all today. I am excited to be here with you guys.
Oh no, we got 8-Bit Mary.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She looks fine to me.
As long as all
She
8
looks
bits
okay.
are as beautiful as that.
Then it must
I
be
guess
me.
it's
It just
okay.
must be me. It must be me. It must just, for some reason.
Looking through pixeled eyes.
I don't
Am
know.
I normal
Candy
or
and
not?
everybody else.
I look normal on the stream. It looks like.
I say if everybody else looks fine to me except
Yeah,
for you.
looking good to me.
Okay,
All right.
now you're back. Okay, you're still froze, but oh well. That's just my end of things. Maybe I got to refresh. So yes, we also have with us, as always, Miss Sarcastic Nerd, the most sarcastic nerd on the internet.
I freaking love
And I
you.
think
Miss.
she did actually fry out there.
No, she
Uh,
didn't. She's fine.
Hi. I'm fine. What? Okay, Tom.
Introduce yourself.
What? Introduce myself. Who am I again? Oh, good. I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd, but you can call me Miss. I won't harm any of you. I'll just annoy you all to death.
Annoyance is a strong word.
Okay, everything seems to be looking better for me now. But yes, we love you, Miss Sarcastic Nerd, even though you think you're annoying, you're not.
No, she's my favorite. Guys,
Oh.
seriously, for those of you who haven't checked out Miss Sarcastic Nerd's channel, allow me to give you a rundown of what you can expect out of her. And I give her full credit. I give her full credit for this idea. So if you traipse on over to my page, you'll find a wonderful little video called Cancel Jeremy. # Cancel Jeremy. And we do cancel Jeremy in that video. And I won't say
Epically.
exactly. Oh,
Epically.
so epically. Now, the idea belongs to Miss. The execution of it, she was brilliant. She was the crafter of so much of this ordeal. And
I gave him stubby little legs.
and his above averageness was in full display. And then we canceled him by burning him down.
You did the above averageness. I did not touch that area except with fire.
I was the only one handling the peen. But yes, this was in Minecraft. For
Wait,
clarification,
did you say there's a peen there?
there's it was like tripod levels.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Good night. Okay.
it was
Yeah.
it was fully her idea. She is a mad genius, and you should go check
You're
her
like totally throwing her under the bus. You think you're giving her credit, but
out. You already knew. You already knew.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Jeremy knows.
Made a
Jeremy
wicker man of
knows.
Jeremy and burned him to the ground.
The
Love
only
her.
thing that bothered him was the fact that we lit it peen first. That
Just
was
the tip?
Just the tip. Which is
And and before we get rolling on here, last but not least, the mistress of mayhem, the mistress of ceremonies. You've already met her already, but we got to give her introduction proper. There I go using that word again. Miss Mary Mayhem, how you doing tonight?
Well, hi guys. I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Whammon card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem. I talk about newsy new stuff during the week, and on the weekends, I have a little bit of fun. So come check me out.
Just a smidgen.
Just a smidgen of fun. Sometimes we light wickermen on fire. It's great.
Yes, they do. And I have to witness it. Christopher Richett sent us a Canadian $5. What are your thoughts, ladies, on the rumored Jedi Academy series Disney is thinking of doing?
I think that's
Did you hear about
Candace
that?
Arena. That's a Candace Arena, right? Because I don't know.
That was always the first thing I was thinking they should have gone with, personally. That's just me. But
I know about the game show, but this is kind of the first I'm hearing about. I mean, that's not true. I mean, I guess I remember them talking before about something like this, but
Is it the game show that we're talking about here? Or are we talking about a video game?
yeah, that's where I'm confused. I think this is a series for Disney Plus, but I think
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
Jedi
series.
Academy.
It's a series.
Oh, okay.
They're-
So we are talking about that.
Yeah, they're looking to basically do like the new Jedi Order kind of. So if you're familiar with Legends, you know there's a new Jedi Order where Luke's created and he starts building up the Jedi again and everything. So this is hinting to that direction.
Hmm.
And but when you look at the Jake Skywalker we have in Disney, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same brilliance.
Well, and why do we care, honestly? Because we know how this ends. They all die.
Yeah,
There are
they
no-
all die. And if they're going to do this shit, why don't they just bring back Legends as an entirety and just give us all the beautiful lore that was created before
Plot hole.
Disney?
Plot hole. This just occurred to me, and I don't know why I've never called it out before. We're talking about a 30-year gap here, right?
Mhm.
So he was training he was training Jedi for what? 15 years of that, at least? At least?
Supposedly.
Roughly 15 years of that, at least, if not longer. Like, why is it that in 15 years you didn't have any of them graduate and go off on their own and do other stuff? Why so few? Why was this a murderable moment? Why was it that you were able to stomp it all out when he put 15 years probably at least into building this? Shouldn't you have had people who were grown and done and gone and out in the world being Jedi? Why were we able to squash it in one night by killing some younglings? Anakin, stop.
Because it's a kids movie, Mary. Because it's a kids movie.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Dog.
I always wish though that in terms of like Disney as a series, I always thought that if they were going to go like with a new animated or something, I always thought it would have been a really cute idea to introduce at least to younger kids the idea of like this school for Jedi Padawans and introduce new characters for Disney to like do whatever they want to through that method. I thought that would be kind of fun. I just thought that would be a nice way of going about it. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it with this scenario.
Why would we care? Right? Because they all die.
This is going to be a stupid like Disney Channel cartoon thing, is it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We'd probably go with just something like light and fluffy for the little kids to get them like initiated to Star Wars.
That light and fluffy ends in death at the hands of Kylo Ren. So
that'd be a great season finale. It like gets real quick. Like Anakin shows up and they all get beheaded. Yeah.
We haven't even got to the show yet, and y'all broke Miss. What the fuck?
Sorry, guys. Spoiler alert.
She's down there just like, what? Now Mary's going. Yeah. Jesus. Oh, good Lord.
They're going to take the classic Anakin Skywalker saber and just do it all like he did in Revenge of the Sith, you know?
If they did it with that.
What are we going to do, Master Solo?
They need to do it in the style of Lizzie McGuire.
Literally the worst. Oh, God.
Oh, man. I think that's enough.
God bless Lizzie for coming back to all this bullshit. Sorry, like how she had like her normal life, and now she's like, okay, yeah, I'll just top back Lizzie 2.0. Okay, like what? You can't go. I liked Lizzie McGuire the first time around, but this is really weird seeing her, like, seeing her all grown up and stuff like us.
Is she really trying to be all like wholesome again or something, or what?
I have no idea, but it's awkward as. It's just
I haven't seen it, but I heard she made it.
They just need to let it go.
I hope in this run, in the dodgeball scenes, they just pelt each other in the face angrily. Like
this week on Lizzie McGuire dealing with heroin.
It's like
Lizzie, you're strung out again.
The troubles of finding a babysitter. Like just stupid shit.
I have to deal with as an adult. Kids.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Why did I give up drinking?
Disney's reaching, but that's okay.
Yes.
We got that echo back, Tom, for a moment. I don't hear it now.
Yeah, does somebody not have headphones? Yeah, I was going to say, no? Okay.
I think it's good.
Okay.
Yes, you spoke really loudly, man, and it caught on my microphone. It's your fault, Tom.
Maybe that was what it was. It could have been.
You don't want these beautiful girls in headphones, okay? That's not what you want.
I don't like it, but it helps with the echo. Cal Clay sent us another. I need to get the Canadian. We were saying this earlier on After Dark because we have so many supporters out of Canada. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. You guys must love us up there. I don't know why we make.
They love us to boot.
But we wish we were you. Ladies of toxic femininity, thoughts on Zoe Quinn facing no consequences for false allegations and Brianna Wu for Congress won't feminism get over Gamergate.
Oh God.
We don't want to get into this too deep, but I mean, if you guys have a quick opinion on this, or
I have no opinion. I don't know what this is about.
Twat waffle.
I didn't know. I don't know the latest updates with Zoe Quinn. I just feel like as a general representative of our gender, I'm embarrassed and ashamed of her. And she needs to like go back into a hole and not come out.
No, I think crawl under a rock.
I echo that sentiment 110%. I don't know exactly what all the updates are.
She's a succubus. She needs to get the hell out of here.
Oh my God, that's a fantastic word to describe her. This woman has nothing but disdain, and for everybody around her. Not to mention, she's the kind of person who will stab anyone in the back if she thinks it will help her. She's just a bad human being.
Yeah,
she's a genuinely bad person, and so I feel bad for every person who's ever had to encounter that person. Stay far away, men. Right? Like look for some. She's a ball of crazy. She's a ball.
That's usually been the case with all the girls I've met that named Zoe too. So I don't know.
I agree.
Just a thought.
What a horrible stereotype to start.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm toxic. Okay, get over it. I have stereotypes.
Liz McCrackhor porn star says Drake 6'2". That's what I would say. What can you do at this point with Lizzie McGuire? I mean, she's kind of tarnished her image.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that makes sense with the little cartoon version of herself.
I guess, yeah. At this point, all this time as an adult, she finally realizes she's been schizophrenic. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, Lizzie McGuire was her alter ego all along. She turned out to be
Jesus.
Never mind. I was going to go somewhere dark with that, but we'll stop.
So she's a victim of mental health issues instead of being. Okay. Anyway, let's get into the news. What do you ladies say? We're 400 strong.
Great first week of 2020. I have to say, I am I'm excited of where this year is going in terms of pop culture, because I think we literally witnessed the death of it via TV and movie last year. And if you're a fan of Phoenixes, I'm hoping out of the ashes that was 2019, we get something spectacular this year coming out of it. So far, so good.
We will see. I don't think our work is done here.
No, but we are becoming a household name. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. We're on everybody's list.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ashes. Let's get into the news, because I think Rickey Gervais just like singed Hollywood last night.
Bring it on. All right. So this is going to be a relatively free flow discussion. Did you guys check out? Well, I don't know why you would check out the I really don't know why you would. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Golden Globes. They don't matter. They're irrelevant. But Rickey Gervais was on everybody's lips last night because he was dropping some truth bombs on the Hollywood.
He kicked them all in the Golden Globes, is what I'd say.
Yes.
It was beautiful. He literally bent them over like all of the nasty guys in Hollywood do, and gave them exactly what they've been giving everybody else all these years, which is a pile of shit.
I adore.
Wonderful.
Like, there was a half and half sort of. I don't know if it was half and half, but there was groans and then there was laughing and clapping. There was clapping.
It was nervous laughter. For sure.
Nervous laughter. And then the true laughter was just the spectators way in the back, because they were enjoying the hit as well.
Yeah.
So you had like this whole emotions.
Tom Hanks looked like he was going to have an aneurysm at point.
He was so, God, whatever happened to him? He used to, it's embarrassing to see the demise of, it's just literally the demise of Tom Hanks. He's just turned into this just pile of, boring now with those reactions. Like, it's just, cliche, stereotypical Hollywood, elitist. And that's what they're all thinking inside is what's on his face. So whatever.
It's the bubble. It's the bubble that they live within. Because they didn't know, right? Like, they were sort of this nervous, are we allowed to laugh at this? Oh, God, guy. Kind of stuff going on throughout the crowd. This very uncomfortable, can you imagine the level of eggshell walking that they all feel like they must do all the time? Can you imagine feeling like you can't laugh at a joke, that you can't? He literally prefaced it with, hey, guys, let's remember that we're all going to die soon and there's no sequel.
Yep.
So laugh at yourself a little bit, right? Like, he prefaces with that. He tries to get everybody to a place where they can understand, look, we're going in here, guys. We're going into the uncomfortable zone. So just own it a little bit. We're all going to die soon. And that's okay. There's no sequel. This is the life you get. Let's laugh a little bit at ourselves. And they're still sitting there with their butt cheeks clenched so hard. Like, seriously, I can't imagine any of them having a bowel movement for the next 2 or 3 weeks. It was so bad.
They're definitely going to be seeing
satisfying,
some
though.
therapists, probably taking a few more drugs, and maybe hiring a few more hookers. I think that's how they're going to get over this in the next few weeks. I think that's the standard thing they do, the trifecta for getting over things in Hollywood.
Yeah. Those wonderful, amazing pinnacles of virtue, right, guys? Those people we're meant to emulate.
Sex, drugs, and therapy.
Oh yeah, sex, drugs, and therapy.
Mhm.
All of the other nonsense that they do. So he lays it out. He lays it out on the line for them last night. And I love how he started with it. He said, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. And then he continues, and he follows that up not long after with, he calls them all perverts.
Pretty much. Saying Ronan Farrow's coming out for you guys. Like, he was a savage. And for those of you who don't know, Ronan Farrow is the one that wrote in the Wall Street Journal all of the details articulating what happened. Was it with Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah.
So, he did not hold back. And I think it's hilarious because a lot of those people, it was relevant to them. You know that there's plenty of people in that crowd that are seriously doing some nasty shit behind the scenes.
They've been on that couch with him, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of women there that are hashtag me too, but let's just let it, we're just going to go ahead and keep our mouths closed.
They knew about this nonsense. And look, I'm sorry, but I think a lot of them were party to it by keeping their mouths shut for so damn long.
Yeah.
You knew about it and you did nothing, but you're going to stand up there on your podium like you're righteous now, like you're special now. How long did you let this go on? How many victims did you allow to be created? And so he points this stuff out and they're all just sitting there incredibly uncomfortable.
He kept doing it so quick that they couldn't keep up. And I think that was kind of the key. They were getting like they couldn't process it enough to really realize that he's dishing it out at them. But I love that. Like, this is why I love comedians. Okay. Actors and actresses, they literally regurgitate the things that are put in front of them. They don't think for themselves. They're very good at trying to seem authentic, but they're literally saying the same things that they're given. So then you have comedians. Comedians are the ones that have to be creative, thinking out of the box, being quick-witted, quick to respond. They're generally smarter people, big brain. All right. And a lot of these comedians are realizing that their profession is on fire right now.
I mean, did you see Ray Romano though? His reaction to it, he was getting a kick out of it all.
Oh yeah.
But you still will have your Amy Schumers and your ones that are bound by the chains of Hollywood because they are just so stuck in that mindset that they don't get it. They don't realize that it is literally a detriment to their profession. But then you've got all these breakout comedians from last year and this one, bringing out the likes of Dave what's his name? Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr. And now we can add Ricky Gervais to the list. And I was scrolling through the Twitter blue check marks and scrolling through the headlines regarding, saying, oh, Ricky Gervais just resorted back to his character from The Office and this, that, and the other. They are trying to find a narrative in which this sticks and keep looking for it because it's hilarious.
Yeah, because everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. Look, we literally threw a tweet out there earlier. It was like, thank you guys so much for your response because this is how out of touch they are. And that was sort of the whole point, right? The whole point of his spiel is how out of touch these people are with the reality around them. And everyone else in the world reacted in the way that a normal human being reacts. That's right. You guys are a bunch of hypocrites. Let's all laugh and point at you, right? We were all able to do that, but the Hollywood elites are sitting there with their asses puckered because they're so terrified that anybody might point out what absolute massive hypocrites that they are. And I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. It was one of the most, and look, big props to Dave Chappelle, right? For sort of setting the standard. Big props.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Big props to people like Bill Burr, who he's never backed down from that piece.
Yeah. No.
Right? Like never backed down from it. Big props to them for keeping that window open, for making it possible, because he went up on the Golden Globes and he did this, guys. He stared them straight in the face and he called them what they were, and they couldn't handle it. They couldn't.
Yeah,
handle it.
I particularly loved the fact that they looked at Tim Cook when he was talking about how Apple, trying to be all woke. And Tim Cook's literally right there. These are why comedians are great. They are used to being in the lion's den when it comes to putting out these kinds of jokes. And he was literally looking at him, telling him, "Yeah, you're so woke. You have sweatshops in China, but yeah, you're so woke and so for the right cause and this, that, and the other." And I just threw in the Disney and everything is beautiful. And then the in memoriam, thinking, oh guys, I really wanted to have the in memoriam and honor those who died last year. But I took a look at the list and it was just a little too white. So I was like, nah, not going to do that to you guys. I'm going to stand up for what's right. It's just hilarious.
Not diverse enough.
It was so good.
What we need is a little more gay lesbian death.
Yeah, not enough minorities died this last year in Hollywood, you guys. So
damn it, minority shit. You guys need to die quicker.
I know I personally will feel much better when there are way more dead bisexuals out there. Personally, I will feel much better represented, right? Like that's what this boils down to, though, right? That's where we wind up with this stuff. This boils down to you're talking so hardcore about representation, and we've got to represent everything. That's where this ends. That's where this goes. We're all just people. We're all gonna die. I don't need that kind of representation up on the screen. What I need you to do is calm your tits. For 2 seconds.
Calm the tits. And and they're just acting out their roles in everyday life. They're acting now as liberals or whatever you want to call them. That's the scene of Hollywood so they can maintain their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this was a basic unannounced roast to every single one of them. And it was glorious. I was like, if I can have my marshmallows here, just kick back, watch the ship burn.
Well, he also gets into it, and I love this. He kind of leads into the point that the industry is bullshit. Everything is streaming now, right? Everything is all the films are awful, lazy remakes and sequels, right?
Yep.
So he was like saying, he alludes to how pointless and unwatchable TV and award shows are, because everyone watches Netflix now, and award shows are boring as shit. He's sitting there watching his watch while he's doing his monologue,
sipping his beer.
Sipping his liquor, getting it over.
He's literally our guy. He's our guy.
Yes,
right there, and it's fantastic to watch comedians red pilling themselves in front of everybody else.
Yes,
it's glorious.
Isn't it a wonderful place to be? Like, look, I don't know exactly how much legitimate help this is going to be in the long run. I suppose it will only continue to be helpful to what it is that we want if someone else picks up the torch and runs with it, right? But what a wonderful place to be for someone to be standing in front of these people, saying it to their faces, saying it on the Golden Globes to their faces. You filthy hypocrites. You work for these companies. You were cool with it taking the money. Yeah, you were cool with that. But you stand up here. Stop thanking or stop going up there and making your political speeches. Thank your God, thank your agent, and get the fuck out.
Yeah,
get out. No one wants to be here.
Literally red pill Oprah. You have a red pill and you have a red pill. Everybody's having a red pill today. It was beautiful. I had to rewind it a few times just to make sure I was listening to this correctly. And, it's going to be interesting to see. Now we've got the Oscars coming up, and Oscars are notorious for that Oscars so white stuff. And with the issues with like Kevin Hart and stuff like that. And it'll be interesting to see. They don't have a host yet for the Oscars, and I am just curious who's going to follow this because
the Oscars is going to be a shit show.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. I don't want to watch them, but I want to definitely, if there's anything that's interesting coming out of it, I can't wait.
The thing is about what Rickey said is that despite him saying that, and as impressive as it was and made us all go, yes, and sort of jump up and cheer, because I hate Hollywood. Hollywood is a horrible, disgusting place in my mind. And it's satisfying to see someone speak up against it. But they're way too empty-headed and closed-minded to have heard a single thing he said.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, you could see it on their faces while they were sitting there in the crowd.
Them in their faces. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was so awesome.
There was no absorption. And imagine sitting there and like you've been called out for the thing that is shitty about you that you've never bothered to step back long enough to look at and realize, right? Like imagine sitting there and having it happen live broadcasted in front of millions of people. Sure, I guess I'd clench my butt cheeks.
He literally trolled everybody. It was beautiful.
You know what I would do first? You know what I would try to do first? You know what I would shoot for? And this is, look, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. I'm sure that there are things in my life that I'm hypocritical about as well. But I would shoot for just a little bit of self-reflection, just a little bit of
that is not part of their 3-part getting over things. It's literally drugs, therapy, and hookers. So unfortunately, until that changes, self-reflection usually isn't a point of it.
You're the asshole, Candace. Yeah. You're the asshole, not them.
Sorry.
When you're in that world for as long as they're in that world, and you're fed all of the things that you need to fed for your morality to mean nothing. Everything that you do doesn't seem wrong. What you're doing doesn't seem, as long as you get up on stage and criticize humanity for the decisions that they make and do a couple Hail Marys after the show, you're good. You're a saint. You're fantastic.
Right. Yeah. These are the same people who tell you to watch how much you use and waste and all that kind of stuff and conserve, yet they use a private jet to get everywhere.
Yeah. I love how Joaquin Phoenix even kind of slipped that in. He got a little bit political, just a little bit regarding like climate change
Phoenix
and stuff.
was fucking amazing.
But he walked it well. He looked like he was lit as hell, but that's okay. I know he's like an oddball anyway live, but he seemed especially spaced out, but that's okay.
Oh, he was good as
yeah.
He's like, hello, everybody. I'm going to make love to this Golden Globe. But first, I just want to say I'm so glad that everything is made out of plants.
And I hope he looked right at Leonardo DiCaprio's face and he said, maybe we don't have to take our private jet to Palm Springs every weekend. Like that would have been wonderful.
Exactly, yeah. And then we got a super chat I want to catch.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would be drunk off my ass too if I was with him over there, surrounded by all that bullshit. I would be drunk off my ass too, just to kind of have some tolerance.
Yeah, just a little buffer between you.
Well, the rumor is they give him a much more grander bar at the Golden Globes than they do at the Oscars. And speaking of which, we have a super chat here from Grendel Fan 84, $4.99. What are the odds the Oscars make a hard stand after the Golden Globes and allow winners and presenters to speak against Rickey Gervais's comments?
I think there could be no more prevalent display of how scared and terrified you are. I think that in and of itself would be an admission of your own hypocrisy, right? Like to sit there and go, no, but really, guys, no, really, we're really good. See, and the reason he's wrong, he's a bad person. He's a bad man, guys. You should not listen to him.
Ricky's just going to have a horrible accident or something at some point in the next few weeks. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're going to see those Clinton memes pop up about Rickey pretty soon. I have a feeling.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. And somebody's going to hashtag me to him, and somebody's going to come out and say something horrible and awful about the guy.
He literally said Epstein didn't kill himself. So probably.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
He did.
That was glorious. Die. Ricky's dead.
Yeah, yes.
He meant it when he said we're all going to die soon. He was like.
Yeah. Well, but he was sitting there getting drunk while he was doing. He was like, "This shit. This is the 5th time. I'm done.
He's all looking at his clock. He's like, "Okay, were we done with this shit?"
It blows my mind because how can he be so sure that it was the last time? You will never change your mind, never come back. Hold on. Let's just do this. Look, I'm just saying the guy might know they're gonna kill him. That's all I'm saying. They're coming for you, Rickey.
Nice.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped dead. I don't want him to.
Still say it's a drug overdose, though.
It was Michael first, and now they're taking Rickey.
Most likely, it will be a drug overdose. You're right, Candy. It won't be a car accident.
Jesus, no, look, I don't know, but he was very ballsy about it. He was so ballsy about it, and guarantees something is going to say something. Someone's going to say something. Someone's going to do something that is going to cast him in an all new light. They have to diminish the damage here. They have to do some damage control because everybody's talking about this. Everybody's talking about how important that this was for us to hear, for them to have to acknowledge. Because
I'll just say right now, though, if they decide to go on, just overload the political speeches because it's 2020 and in the Oscars to try to reverse what happened here or make their stand, and it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other, they are going to just it's gonna. I mean, they already get horrible ratings, but that's gonna just end. It's going to be so in your face, cringe, disgusting, even more than normal. And I don't know how anybody can endure that one after the other. At least they had like a few in between here and there that were kind of like, they followed Ricky's orders pretty well. But yeah, I mean, you still had a few really cringy ones. Michelle Williams was particularly,
I
wanted to good for you being able to say that, good for you. All pretty and pregnant up there. Good for you. It's just so gross.
And it was gross. It was so disgusting. There is a time and a place for these kinds of conversations, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't happen. I'm not saying that these conversations aren't a good thing for us to discuss. But standing up there when you're the only one who gets to speak on your podium with your little award, talking about what a beneficial thing it was for you in order for you to pursue your career and your life and everything else be damned, and I'll leave it at that, I'm sorry, is classless and tasteless and ridiculous. And here's the big whopper, guys. No one gives a shit, sweetheart. We don't care.
Yeah, and your little one up there is just going to be like, oh, you were talking like when they grow older and stuff and realize that you had said that, you're like, oh, I could have had a brother or sister. It just makes me upset. It's just that you just talk about that like that out there.
The only reason that she did that, the only reason that she'd said anything was to convince herself that it was okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's reflecting.
Yeah,
there's that self-reflection. It just happens to be in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm. She was looking for some kind of validation, and sadly, what's going to end up happening in the end, that's the problem with this chick, Michelle Williams. The only reason I know who she is because outside of her being with Heath Ledger, she's the chick from Bride of Chucky, I think, or some shit like that. That's like where her career started.
Completely and utterly irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, I don't know why she's around. She won some Oscar, and I think that was it. Big deal.
Yeah, it was kind of gross.
I don't remember.
That's the point, though, and I thought it was a great point that you brought up. That look, she was only up there. That Miss brought up that she was only up there to saying it to make herself feel better. If it's so normal, if it's so not a big deal, if this is just a cluster of cells, right? If that's all we're talking about here, and I'm not going to commentary too much myself on one way or the other, but if that's all we're talking about here, then why are you talking about it on stage in front of everyone? Why do you need to do that? Why? If it's such a normal, okay thing to do, why do you need to get up there and laud how wonderful and brave you are for it, as opposed to how selfish an act it may actually be?
What's so
it was insensitive for a lot of people, just bringing that up, because there's a lot of people who try and cannot. And to hear that just so blatantly put out there, some things should just be kept private. And if you have no class and you have no dignity and you just throw everything else out there because that's what you're used to, it just seems like at some point in time, we just need to recognize that something should still be, held something should be held to our heart, not just broadcasted out like that.
Well, she probably thought she was. Yeah, well, she probably thought she was
ignorant. It's completely ignorant.
She was brave and stunning. She was
like
brave.
She thought she was being brave and stunning and taking a political stance when all she did was take a big step back. Because really, let me finish this. Sorry, I just want to say, like, she just wanted to, make this big presentation about it, when all it did was ruin her message. Because anybody who is, like pro-choice, this just made them look 100,000 times worse than the situation already did. Anybody who's pro-life,
just mention that you're pro-choice. Don't go into that.
Like there's no tomorrow.
Well, and let's stop
all it did was
let's stop treating this like it's some black and white thing, like it's just purely good. Because you just completely wrote off every woman out there who may not be able to have a baby, who maybe would have taken that baby that you completely dismissed on her own and loved it. You wrote all them off as if they don't matter. You wrote all of their feelings off as if they were invalid.
The fact that she did it as she was that pregnant, that's what got me. That's the whole thing about like just insensitive to the audience. You know what I mean? That was ridiculous.
What's insensitive too is she's like, women, we don't have control of our bodies and things happen. I'm like, well, then why'd you spread your legs? You have control over that shit.
I mean, anyway, she lost the message. I think, she lost the message, I think was the point I was getting to. And Cal Clay, Canadian $2, another Canadian. Star Wars 9 Rise of Skywalker, Poe wanted to bone Finn. Thoughts? We will definitely get to that, so hang on to that notion. I promise you that is coming up in the next portion. We do have another super chat from Cal. Gervais's roast joined by Lewis black f-bombs fly out. Yeah, there was a lot of f-bombs last night. I didn't
A lot
see
of
the
people
show
were
itself,
drunk.
but yeah. And then of course we got
drunk to be in that room full of those people.
Well,
we got
and
so many
he
super chats here.
was such a great
Sorry.
example of what the hell.
No,
he
no,
was
no.
out. We got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might as well catch them up here. We also had Abu Nas who sent you guys some love, but I'm losing all these. We got Towels B sent us $5. How many of you would tell the TV world about your personal life? Please see the lack of morality and poor soul actually exhibits. And yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's a very personal thing, and it's a wrong place to be bringing it up. You're that pregnant.
No,
the whole
maybe at a
situation
women's forum. Maybe at a women's forum.
Right.
Maybe, but just not a general audience of the Golden freaking Globe.
She needs to see a therapist.
And after that monologue of all things, when you were literally just called out and down for your nonsense, for your absolute BS, that you're standing up there using your platform to shove your politics down people's throat, we don't care. I don't give a shit about how much money you made, Sweet Pea. It doesn't matter to me. Oh, I couldn't be a mirror if I didn't have you bring it. I don't give a fuck. I do not care. Take your politics. Look, you're still
Well, if
irrelevant.
anything, yeah, it still makes her. If anything, it makes her point even worse because she could have afforded to raise that child on her own. With there's all kinds of stupid shit.
All I'm saying is it wasn't the time or the place for the discussion. This
Definitely wrong time, wrong place. Definitely.
It was not the time or place. And so and at the end of the day, sweetheart, I couldn't have done this if I had done it. You're still irrelevant. No one gives a shit about you. No one, literally, what he was saying. It is monologue.
The theme song's going in my head, Dawson's Creek, as you're saying it. It's beautiful.
No one cares about your stupid award show. No one cares about your stupid, shiny Golden Globe. You know what? They might have cared about your being alive. I'm just saying, it was such a stupid thing to say. No one cares about your stupid, shiny little gold award. It's so fucking stupid.
She needs a therapist.
Yeah, she showed how selfish she was. Drake is 6. We skipped over this one accidentally. $5. Thank you so much. Actually, Ricky's speed was due to the thought he was going to get the security hook ending his intro. That doesn't surprise me. He thought maybe he'd get
amazing.
booted off stage.
The last time he did it, his monologue was like 12 minutes long.
Oh, I think because he kept going. Yeah.
This was like an 8-minute one. He just wanted to get it the fuck over with.
Yes.
He was so dumb. He was just wanting to get back to his chair and get hammered.
I'm looking
Trace XL.
at Ricky's Twitter right now, and 50 minutes ago, he's all, welcome to my 300,000 new followers. Yes. From last night, 300,000 followers.
I need to follow him now.
I'm following him.
Guys, in the chat, if you do not follow Rickey Gervais,
I always have.
we recommend.
Yeah.
I've loved
I'm
Ricky.
actually going to go do that right now. I'm going to go
follow
follow
him, ladies and gents.
You guys
are toxic masculinity guys, so go follow him.
I love me a
used to
toxic
watch-
male at the Golden Globes.
I would
I used to
love
watch
to
him back in
see
the day all the
toxic
time.
femininity have like a solid 300 to 400 impact on his follower rate.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Now.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, he
hashtag
just
toxic
posted another one
femininity.
too. He said the bleeped word was minge.
I think somebody posted that otherwise because I think it got out there unbleeped. I think so.
That was when he was doing his Judi Dench joke. He goes,
Yes,
he just said the
yes.
bleeped word was minge. I can just totally see him saying that.
Trace XL sent us $10. These things these celebrities do at these award shows is the same crap the blue check marks do on Twitter all day, every day. They can't live without validation. It's that simple. Yeah,
Glorified
that's pretty,
circle jerk.
Yeah, good way of putting it there. Yeah.
I don't know if this link will go up in the chat. I think it went up. I think it went up in the chat. It's not clickable though. But that's Rickey Gervais' Twitter, guys. You're welcome to copy it.
Yeah. Well, let me say, if you give it to me in the private chat, I can post it. I got to get Andre to make you guys wrenches. MR Mello. Am I saying that right? MR Mello from, I think that's New Zealand, $10. True nerds say Canadian dollars are the best dollars.
We appreciate them here.
Yes,
we appreciate any from everywhere, but we just happen to notice that we do have a very strong Canadian following.
We do.
That's really strange.
And hey,
and After Dark as well. Yeah.
I love them Canadians. You guys are off.
I love maple syrup, so we're down. I'm down.
You racist, Candy.
I say the one time that I did I was in Canada for like a minute. I did zip lining over. I was hanging out in Buffalo with some family, and I did a zip line over the big, what is the I can't remember the falls
Niagara.
over there. Niagara, they're like the big ones. Yeah, we zip lined over it. It was so much fun. It was beautiful, and everyone was so nice. So yeah, Canada, I want to go back for sure.
I hung over the railing once. Does that count?
No
and
barrel,
hockey
right?
players are very nice. I love hockey
Yes.
players. I love watching them get into fights. It's really fun. Boys
New
will be
Zealand-
boys, and I'm okay
Small
with
thing
that.
more
Hockey
sexy
game.
than a bunch of testosterone-ridden guys.
I dig it.
beating Each other with
I dig
sticks.
it. Yeah.
And as
Small
Kevin Street
town-
says, go ahead, miss.
I was just gonna say, small town hockey games. That's where the fighting is at.
Oh, is that where it's best? Yeah, you would
See,
know.
she's
You
been to
were
a
from-
few.
You were in Canada for a while there, right, Miss?
Yeah.
Oh wow, yes.
Kevin Street says New Zealand is cool too, though, and that's right because that's what I get when Doomcock takes over. I get New Zealand.
Boom chakalaga.
I wanted Australia, but Rob got Australia because he's a dirty bastard.
Oh,
Wait,
Well, that's just because I wanted to go. I wanted to be able to run around like Lex Luthor and say, "I own Australia."
can I just get an island? That's all I want.
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted a big island.
I want a tree.
I want lots of palm trees and lots of guys with sticks beating each other up.
ooh,
Good.
good,
Fandom
nice.
Menace,
With little maple leaves in the
calendar.
front. Is that it?
we need to do Men of the Fandom Menace calendar.
We have
Have them
talked
play
about
with their
this.
sticks.
Yes.
It's funny that has come up before.
We don't want to do a women calendar. We want all you guys to put on.
Yes, we want the
I
men.
think- I think
Yes.
the only thing we decided for sure was that EVS had to be December, so he could dress like Santa Claus.
Oh, that's me.
Well, he loves to dress like Santa Claus. It seems.
Dude, I want drunk 3PO chopping wood.
Like a burly man in a
With his
red
calves
and
out.
black,
His calves out.
Yes, he has
plaid
to do it with
shirt.
the
Yes.
pant legs rolled up. He has to do it with the pant legs.
Him and
Mhm.
Jesse. Him and Jesse chopping trees.
Jesus.
Then we also probably need to do a girls one too.
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Well,
It's
of
only
course.
fair. Candace
Well,
and I have
yeah.
already discussed a pillow fight. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
what we said is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Spinal Tap, but we said what you have to do is we have to put all the men in compromising positions, and the ladies of the toxic the ladies of the Fandom Menace would be the ones who would
We're
be
all
in control.
holding
And all.
leashes.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it was
Have
kind of
some
a
belly
play
dance
on that.
costumes we can wear too. You know,
Oh,
it'd be
shit.
fun.
And of course, Script Doctor, we love you because you're Canadian, but not just because you're Canadian.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No.
Also, because you're a burly toxic man, which we will take.
And you're here with us. That's why.
I love how Laura got that shout out. Sucker for them pretty faces, y'all. Well, we're sucker for your toxic masculinity, guys.
It's
So-
Otis Berg.
Jeremy can have
Otis
February.
Berg. It's just a
No,
little
no, no,
bitty
no.
place.
Oh wait, we put Jeremy in like a little diaper with some wings and a little.
Oh, man.
pillow.
Oh no. Yeah, he needs to be January. He needs to do the new baby New Year
Year?
with the little cherub Jeremy.
Oh, and the hat,
I
the
think-
top hat.
Yes, and it's got to be
I-
too big. It's got to be too big.
I
That's
think
what
we
she
did
said.
say that because they say all slave girl Leia costumes. I think we did say that for May, since May 4th is in May or whatever, we do the May month as all the men of the toxic Fandom Menace in the Leia costumes,
I don't want to do that. No,
making
no, no,
fun
no.
of the.
I'm good. Thanks, but no.
But it would
I'm
make
pretty
fun
sure
of
if
that
you
one
put
dude's
like
picture.
hashtag slave Leia, you'd be like banned on YouTube
Oh yeah,
and Twitter
you'd
though.
be
So
so
you
brave
can't say
and
that anymore.
stunning. So brave and stunning.
Yeah, it's got to be like the golden bikini Leia. You can't say slave Leia. So
And who doesn't want to see Steeg and Slave Leia?
Oh fuck.
Mary, tell us how you really feel.
Who Fox needs to be in Slave Leia? 19K Fox, he has to be in Slave
I'm
Leia.
out. I'm done. I quit.
Throw in the towel.
Speaking of Star Wars, why don't we move past all this Golden Globes business and get into the real meat of what everybody's here for?
Okay. Well, I did want to actually point out one more thing that he said, because I felt like this was poignant, and I felt like it speaks a lot to the point that we were sort of trying to make of why this was so powerful and why it was that what he said meant so much to so many people, right? So he goes on and he says, look, you say you're so woke, but the companies that you work for, these are the people that have sweatshops in China, right? So Apple got into the TV game with the morning show, and it was a drama about dignity and doing the right thing. And it was made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. If ISIS started a streaming company, you'd all freaking call your agents. We're allowed to say ISIS now? I thought that was great. We're allowed to say ISIS now. Remember that big long stretch of time where we had to say,
not be that. You used to have to say, what was it? The like the
Somebody did something?
It's like a dash. You have to say something else.
ISIL. You had to say ISIL for a while.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to say ISIS because it was disrespectful for whatever damn reason. Like, and we're not trying to get political here. We're trying to point out that like this guy took leaps and bounds here. He said words that they all sort of for some damn reason collectively decided to agree were not okay to say, right? And he just outed it. And then he outed all of them and he said, "You damn hypocrites. You're sitting here talking about how." Sorry, let me turn my noise down a little bit, see if that helps at all. You're sitting here talking about how you're so righteous and you're getting on your unearned moral superiority soapboxes, and you're talking about all of these political causes. But then when the push comes to shove, you work for these companies that have sweatshops in China. You work for these companies that will take the lesbian kiss out of their movie when it comes to putting it in certain countries because they're worried they're not going to make their money. You're a bunch of hypocrites. You're fine with it as long as it puts the money in your pocket. But when it comes time to go stand on the stage, you want to push your platform. He legitimately underlined what and why these people are such hypocrites, what it is that makes them such hypocrites. And it was why they were so uncomfortable. It was because, it's probably a lot. Sorry. So he underlined this and he highlighted, and it was why they were so uncomfortable sitting there, just aghast at like, oh, we are hypocrites, but we don't want to acknowledge it. And they were so indignant over the whole thing. You are hypocrites. You'll put that money in your pocket and then you'll talk down to me. You'll talk down to me. Who the do you think you are? Who do you think you are? He absolutely highlighted it. He said the things to their face on national TV in front of everybody. He said it to their face, the thing I would have liked to have said. And thank God, I'm glad he did it with a humorous spin because it is funny if you think about it. But things that are funny are always rooted in truth.
Yep.
Always rooted in
That's
truth.
why comedians are the best to serve it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. I don't know if any of you guys have anything you want to add to that at all, but I wanted to highlight that so hard.
No, it's so hard, huh? It was really nice. And I'm excited to talk a little bit about, all the other stuff this year with this at the beginning of it, just kind of setting it off in the right tone. So it's nice. That's all. I'm enjoying it.
Willie Woodward sent us $2 and he said, see his other chat. I think this is his other comment. I think this is what he meant. No, wait, I got it. Since I am a man monkey, I'll wear a man thong and be put on a chain and Miss holds the chain. That sounds more like a personal fantasy.
When I hear man monkey, I think man a hammock. Is that just me or am I alone? Okay, sorry about that.
No.
We'll take that into consideration.
Okay. Didn't know that's where he's going with it.
I have no idea. MR, I'm not even going to comment any further. MR Mamello comes back with another $2. New Zealand, never say you want Australia when round Kiwis gay. I got you, buddy. Sorry. I just want to be able to say Australia. That's why. Ricky Gervais is Mr. Reality from South Park. Says rude artist with $2 or $1.99. Yeah, kind of. It felt like a South Park episode for a little bit there. It was really strange. Really strange.
Just getting hammered up on the stage, telling everybody assholes. You're all a bunch of assholes.
So what do you say, ladies? We get on some Star Wars.
I'm excited. You guys, it's the gift that just keeps on giving into 2020. It's amazing. Here I thought, new year, I'm not going to have to deal with the Rise of Skywalker post apocalypse of the Rise of Skywalker. Lo and behold, here we go.
So much of a shit show. Do you want me to share the Reddit post, Tom, as we move into our next subject?
Please do, because StreamYards is being a pain in the ass for me tonight on.
Let me go ahead and do that right now. So give me 2 seconds here, guys, and I will
I can't
pull.
see whatever image Tom is using.
The saltier.
Oh, you haven't been privy to my whole traveling cavalcade of craziness?
All right.
Is that a
It's
gremlin?
beautiful. The
That would
gremlin's
be
my
Gizmo,
favorite.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Yeah.
actually got his arm around Gizmo.
Yeah.
Hey.
Or Gizmo's got his arm around Baby Yoda, I mean. Yeah, there you go. And Drunk 3PO had to be in the back. He
I
insisted.
like your pimp hat.
Thank you.
All right. I do believe I've got it pulled up here for you, Tom. So this is from Baron Administrator. And he says, here's what I've been told from a source that worked on The Rise of Skywalker. So these are leak updates, as he puts it, but he's talking about this is essentially what it boils down to is the J.J. Abrams cut and the craziness that went on behind the scenes with The Rise of Skywalker. And there's some accusatory nature to this particular post here. So let me turn on my freaking thing here. All right, there we go. Sorry, I hate the brightness. It freaking kills my eyes. So there's some very accusatory nature to this particular post. So he says, I posted a few, and there is an update to it, which we'll get to later. I posted a few clarifications on how I verified this source, as well as a statement from them, and then he gives the link to that. This is the original post here. He says, so since shortly after release weekend, I've been corresponding with someone who worked closely on the production of The Rise of Skywalker and works for one of the major companies I cannot disclose here. I have verified the source to my satisfaction. To protect the source, I am rewording what we spoke about over the last 2 weeks, and I'm submitting to you in bullet point format. I have written based on what they told me. The too long didn't read is that they were upset with the final product of The Rise of Skywalker and wanted to share their perspective on how it went down and where it went wrong. So this is, as we said, in bullet point format. We're probably not going to read all of these because this is just so daggum long, but it is very enlightening. And we will preface this with, this is rumor and speculation, guys. This is a Reddit post. There's no vetting that we can do here.
You can consider along the lines of instead of a grain of salt, a grain of saltier than crate subreddit. So yes, there you go.
I like it.
It is, it's there's a lot of nuggets here though that do sound very interesting. That could be that kind of follow in lockstep with a lot of the things that we've been hearing, but there are a lot of red flags too. So I'm glad we're going over this because it's full of a lot of different. I have a mixed bag of feelings about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mixed bag of feelings, I think, is a great way to describe how a lot of us feel about this particular post here within the community.
Yeah.
And I'll preface it with, I think that it's probably legit in terms of what it tells us from behind the scenes. The intentions are something that maybe you can try to decipher for yourself, but they are pretty forthcoming. So it says, the leakers for The Rise of Skywalker. What the fuck just happened?
Ooh, and there's your salt. See,
bumped up on me. What the actually just happened? I think I clicked something stupid.
Oh well, yeah. If you scroll down and you really clicked on it, it just does that.
It's all right. I got it back. I just went back. So the leakers of The Rise of Skywalker had an agenda and are tied to Disney directly. So they're literally busting out that the leakers, the script that we got, remember the leaks, the people who put it out there are apparently tied directly to Disney if this article is to be believed. My source, every time I freaking click this thing, it goes away. My source confessed that they have an agenda as well, in that they struggle with with ignoring what's been happening to someone they think doesn't deserve it. Talking about J.J. Abrams. J.J. always treated everyone on and off set with respect. So my source's agenda is that what Disney has done to J.J. and how much they screwed him over should be something people are at least aware of, whether you like him as a filmmaker or not. And I think think we can kind of pause there and go ahead and do a little discussion roundtable on that.
Yeah. I hate how they just lay it up like that. It's automatic. Just, they set it up as if you don't like him as a filmmaker, if you do, it doesn't really matter because I'm about to lay out a bunch of objective criteria in which you should judge his role in it. It's just it just automatically I was like, okay, this is definitely interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if this is coming from someone extremely close to him on his behest. And
I will say for myself, being someone who despises J.J. Abrams as a filmmaker, I can believe that he was sabotaged. I can believe that. There's definitely motivation to do that. But that doesn't mean that his 3-hour cut of the movie is good.
Yeah.
And what I also believe is that they're covering his ass because he's moving on to DC, to Warner Brothers. And so the judgment is going to be on him after this movie is fully done, after all the records come in, after all the money's come in, how everybody takes it, how the critics take it. The judgment's going to be on him. Now, is Disney going to really sabotage their own stuff in spite of him?
That's the question. I don't see that happening. I see it being an incredibly negligent way. I could see them being that negligent. Not that they would sabotage it purposefully, but that they're simply that clueless and that they're simply that obtuse, right?
And he didn't even get the contract until like September for Warner Brothers. I think that this is a very far-fetching idea to say that the shareholders of Disney would have been on board with something like that after just finding out in September while they're nearing the end of production for this to go ahead and stick it to JJ on the way out. The timeline doesn't add up for me. I don't feel like, and plus business wise, shareholders, all they want is to make money. I feel like to make a $4 billion investment with Star Wars, and then this being an literally an end game, one of the end games for it is odd. It's odd. And I'll just leave it at that.
Now, I will say, and this is just me playing devil's advocate here, I could understand how this also comes down to the perception of the person who they're relaying the thoughts on behalf of here, right? So their perception, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, it may be that their perception is that no one could be this stupid without doing it intentionally. How could a corporation be this stupid? Well, it's Disney. So they're fucking retards.
Yeah. Mandalorian merch. We'll just throw it out there. I mean, marketing is not their forte.
It may just be their perception that how could anyone be this stupid, handle this so carelessly? Well, we've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. We've known they were dumbasses for such a long time. So maybe this person is giving them a quote unquote benefit of the doubt here in a weird way and saying, well, it had to have been deliberate sabotage because no one's this dumb. Well, they are. They kind of are. So I'm willing to kind of play devil's advocate there, that's also an angle that you could look at this from.
This, the Reddit leaks also kind of, what's the word? I forgot the word. Contradict. They also contradict a bit of what was going on with the article you talked about in the beginning of the show when it comes to the release of the JJ cut.
Yeah, that it may be that this was all planned.
Yeah.
From the leaks to the Reddit post to everything, that this maybe it is that Disney is simply trying to play a long game here. We don't know. We won't know until it's all said and done, right?
Right.
But we can look and we can speculate and we can use our brains. We have those. It's a thing. So
yeah, they've helped us a lot so far. With the Rise of Skywalker.
I kind of don't see this being a master plan here. I really don't see this as being a master plan.
I don't see this being all of one person's fault.
It's a master fault.
It's not all JJ's fault.
It was a shitstorm with a lot of characters involved. It was like a glorious shitstorm from the top down. I'm talking Iger, Kathleen, and et al. Just it's kind of actually it's almost impressive. Yeah, how bad of a shitstorm it was with all of them, considering the turnover with the with all the production team, people not wanting to be a part of this. I mean, they're making names for themselves in all the wrong ways.
So they want to cater to their investors, to the stockholders or whatever. So this shows how bad they are with their reinvestment into what the movies made them, because if they're trying to make these movies to please their investors and their shareholders, they ain't getting anything.
Yeah.
This is very telling. And so they're putting the blame somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and so we're going to go ahead and continue on down with this a little bit here and try to sort of break this down for you guys. So I don't know that we can speculate more on that particular part. So Disney was one of the studios who were in that Bad Robot bidding war last year, and Disney never had much interest in Bad Robot as a company, but they did in JJ because they saw Warner Brothers, who JJ went with in the end, as a major threat. Now let me break down a couple of points here so we can get into what exactly they're talking about. So JJ is very successful at bringing back franchises. I mean, you can certainly argue that he's successful in bringing them back. Certainly not ending them,
but bringing them back. Yeah. Okay.
And they do a little couple of citations here. So Mission Impossible, Star Wars, Star Trek. Warner Brothers is struggling with DC. I mean, I don't know. I thought the Joker did pretty well. Warner Brothers is struggling with DC. And aside from Wonder Woman, DC is still seen as a bit of a joke in its current state by the GA. So Warner Brothers wants Abrams for some DC projects. My source said that it's this generation Star Wars is the MCU. And I could not agree with that statement more. And Marvel's biggest threat is a well-operational DC. I could not agree with that more. They just want to keep DC in the limbo that they're in right now. Abrams jumpstarting that franchise with something like a successful audience-pleasing Superman movie makes them nervous. So their goal is to make JJ look bad to potential investors / shareholders. So this looks good on surface, right? This looks good on surface. On surface, you say to yourself, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and sabotage JJ Abrams." But you don't take into account what it is that could do to potentially Star Wars itself. This was a $4 billion IP purchase here. Okay. And they've not made that money back. They have not made that money back. I don't care what they talk about in the news. Oh, yes, the movie made the money. That's gross. That's not the money in their pocket, guys. Okay. We're not talking about the same thing here. No, they have not made that money back. Not to mention all the money that they've spent on freaking theme parks, on making the movies themselves, right? No, that money's not back in their pocket.
Yeah, and this franchise that they just ended isn't going to be what gets a lot of people to want to go visit the theme park either. That's the problem. It's weird. The theme park is a very strange mix of things that aren't extremely relevant to old fans or new. And it's like, good luck getting people to spend that money to go out there. Even the Disney cruises, they're not inclusive of a lot of the things that most Star Wars fans enjoy. And it's strange.
I don't know if it's my bias particularly, but the idea that J.J. Abrams is something to fight over hurts my brain a little bit. I mean, the man
he's a hot commodity out in Hollywood.
Like, scenes can look decent, but he doesn't. The stories never really flow very well. He's not that good a filmmaker, and
he's less combative than other producers or other directors, I suppose.
I guess he'll bend.
He doesn't tell us to, fuck ourselves.
Give a little credit where it's due here. He does know how to play this game, okay? And it's one of the reasons why a lot of us are pointing at this and going, "I call shenanigans here," and saying that we believe perhaps it is that JJ himself or someone very close to him orchestrated this leak here. Because once we get past the beginning, everything begins to feel very legitimate. Once you get past that sort of surface, okay, this is silly. Star Wars isn't, or Lucasfilm isn't going to tank their own stuff because of JB. And you made a great point about that a few seconds ago, Candace, about how he didn't even sign with them until after he was already brought on board, right?
Yeah.
So, no, of course, it could have happened down the line. We'll never know for certain, but it does feel like spin on J.J. Abrams' behest. And so I can understand why it might be that perhaps this is a little bit of truth and a little bit of hyperbole all sprinkled in together. Certainly hyperbole. So apparently J.J. Abrams felt threatened over the months leading up to the premiere. Threatened is a weird word, but I can understand why he would feel his career was threatened.
And what's funny is I went to Funko Pop this weekend down in Hollywood, so that was fun. And they have a Funko Pop of JJ. Disney does, the director. So, and now we have this.
Throw stones at it?
Why?
Yeah, I'm serious. It's horrifying. J.J. Abrams Funko Pop. It's in the Disney display over there at Funko Pop.
The fuck?
That's what I said. I cussed that sucker out.
The fuck you say? This is retarded. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's a bad word. That's a bad word.
You paid to throw your food at it.
Don't want to waste my food on it.
I love it. So apparently JJ felt threatened over the months leading up to the premiere. Ryan was never meant to do episode 9, despite rumors that he was. JJ was brought back by Iger, not KK. Disney insisted on more fan service, less controversy. I buy that. I don't, because we know that she didn't want anybody but Ryan Johnson. She wanted Ryan Johnson, but Bob Iger was the one who was like, you know what? JJ kind of knocked The Force Awakens out of the park. I do believe her power is greatly diminished over there at Lucasfilm, greatly diminished after everything that went down. JJ's original agreement, and this was something we'd heard about prior to this as well, when he signed on, was indicating he would have way more creative control than he did on The Force Awakens. It became evident this wasn't the case only a couple of weeks into shooting when the trouble with meddling started. And we know there was meddling because of the multiple reshoots. Bob Iger had a version, KK had a version, J.J. Abrams had a version, right? Like there are multiple versions of this movie. So there was lots of meddling. That rings true.
Should I do the timeline map we figured out?
Sure.
Okay.
There's 4 different versions of this movie, but before we do that, Larry, good friend of the channel, sends us $2. Smart people discussion is always attractive. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
It doesn't hurt that these
Thank
ladies
you.
are gorgeous, of course. MR Mallow also sends us another New Zealand $10. Hey, Candy and MM, your gray matter is so hot right now. Okay.
That's one of the best. That's one of the best compliments any man has ever given me. Mary, what about you?
I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to take away from gray matter.
Gray matter. Your brain.
My brain
is so
Is that what
hot.
you're referring to? Oh, well,
Isn't that beautiful?
I like your big brain.
Big brain.
Thank you so
Yeah, real quick, I just want to touch on this just a little bit. You know, I did an article review a little while ago, last month. Gizmodo UK talked about, interviewed Kathleen and Michelle Rejwan, and they did discuss their relationship with JJ, at least in the first one. And in The Force Awakens, they were just kind of talking about it. And Kennedy is quoted as saying, if we started to head down a path and then we would reach the pages and we would talk to one another, and if we didn't have some real sense of point of view, strong, solid point of view, then we would push JJ. I'm sure he would say that we pushed him a lot and we weren't afraid. So yeah, I feel like JJ kind of knew what he was getting himself into here. He had literally, they had like a balls against the walls kind of approach with JJ. That's probably why they brought him back, because they knew that they could literally do what they wanted to with him.
Because
I feel like
he's a game player, right? Like JJ's a puss. I'm sorry, he's a puss. He's a puss.
Yeah, but JJ.
Yeah.
With JJ. That is awesome. I love that. That's the first time I've ever actually heard that. Matt G, though, I don't know how come it's been doing this. Sorry, guys. It's like I'll get one and then I'll get another one and then like it skips over one and I don't see it. But it's relevant to this conversation right now anyway. Matt G sent us $2, good friend of the channel. They thought RJ was so great. Why didn't he do episode 9? Well, there's 2 different camps to this. If you believe the one rumor, he was asked, but then he said no. And then the other rumors, I'm sure that they just didn't want him to, because after the mess that The Last Jedi was, Bob Iger was probably like, get anybody but him to do it.
I agree 100%. I think it was probably, I don't think it was that he didn't want to. I don't even think that it was that KK didn't want him. I think it was that Bob Iger finally stepped in and put his foot down. And not that it wound up any better, really, because I don't think you can fix the mess that was handed to us by The Last Jedi. But it's certainly, I think it was, if nothing else, a step in the right direction in terms of them listening to the fans. Still a shit show. You still needed to get competent people in charge here. So when you have a mixture here, and this is my opinion, when you have a mixture of incompetent people making movies, no concept of what it even was that the fans wanted, following up the shit show that was something like The Last Jedi, this was bound to fail. This was bound to fail from get-go, because you had none of the puzzle pieces you needed to work with in order to put this picture together. So that is where we're at. But it would have helped if you'd had people in charge that at least understood what it was that the fans wanted and who were competent filmmakers. Get yourself a script doctor, get a lore expert, get people in on this that understand what the hell you are talking about from get-go. Not going, I bet they like Palpatine. Right? Like you have to go in this in a logical direction, in a direction that makes sense. Nobody ever stopped them and said, you know, guys, Palpatine's dead. No one ever stopped them and said that. No one ever stopped them and said, it might mean a lot to people that Palpatine remains dead.
I bet you when they called Ian McDermott, he probably said that, since George told him that in 2013.
Right?
He's like, guys, thanks for bringing me back on, but y'all do know that I'm dead, right? And they're like, no, we got this. You guys come on to set. We got it all figured out.
But you have to remember, KK said that there's no source material, so there's no brains leading this at all.
No one's in charge over there. It's a bunch of monkeys running around with their fur on fire. So we're gonna keep on going.
Let the past die.
Except of course when you need it for the monies. JJ's sorry, we already read that part with the meddling, that's where the meddling started. So JJ's original agreement when he signed on was indicating he would have way more creative freedom. That was when the meddling started, and JJ wanted to do some scenes he thought were important, but Disney shut it down, citing budgetary reasons. So you have the budget to do massive amounts of reshoots, to cut literally like almost an hour's worth of time. Well, it was like 40 minutes of time out of this movie. You've got the time to edit this thing multiple times and then barely have time to edit it and get it out. But you don't have the budget to what? That's bullshit.
I believe the suggestion there is that they lied and said they didn't have the money to screw with him.
Yeah, you got the money to freaking shoot Solo twice, but you can't do some extra scenes for JJ. Fuck out of here. So,
Fuck out of here.
May 29th.
Right, and not to stop you, Mary, but this is what we were talking about in the pre-show, where I said it kind of made no sense that they were the ones asking for the reshoots, so why wouldn't they give him the money, other than it's stuff that he insisted on that they didn't think was necessary.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah, and we got a quick New Zealand $2 Trekklosopher High School Club rules. Okay, there you go.
Okay,
we got Trekklosopher in the chat. I've been chatting with him.
So in May of 2019, and that's how crazy close they cut this, guys. In May of 2019, okay, we're talking about like 6 months ago.
Wait, real quick, can I just touch on the budget issue? This is the problem that I keep seeing, is when they decide to spend all of their money post-production in the editing room. Rather, invest in a good creative writing process. Invest in the writers. It seems like such a cliche thing to say, that a good foundation builds a solid movie. Like, you have to have a foundation of a storyline that's coherent. And why can't they do that? Why do they have to spend all their money on an editing room?
Because they're
for 11th hour putting the shit together.
They don't know what they're doing.
Don't you understand? They're far more concerned with giving you seizures.
God
and
damn.
flashy lights. My dear.
It just pisses me off. I just feel like so much could have been done to make this a wonderful thing, bringing Star Wars back to the forefront for this generation. And what a awful way to do it. Now people are going to be watching this movie for the first time. People are not familiar with the originals. And they're going to go look at those originals and be like, well, why didn't Anakin just force heal his mom? And why didn't Anakin just force heal Shmi or Padme? He would have never become Vader. I'm sorry. I'm so upset.
The only answer is I don't fucking know. That's the only answer that is applicable here. I don't fucking know, guys.
Pisses me off.
No.
How many of their movies did they spend on reshoots anyways? We have Rogue One, we have Solo, and we have this one so far.
But you can't do it for the finale. It was a cop-out answer that they gave him. Yeah. So he goes in, and in May 2019, JJ argued that those scenes were crucial. He had to let go of one of the scenes. The other scene he insisted on was approved at first. He did reshoots and additional photography back in July, guys. Excuse me. The new scene was shot at Bad Robot in October. That's interesting. So Bad Robot, they're good with working with Bad Robot when it suits them, right? So the ending that will blow your mind. You guys remember that when Kevin Smith was like, the ending that will blow your mind, guys, that nobody knows about. The ending that will blow your mind was a part of this. Older actors were brought in, like Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, and Samuel L. Jackson, and anyone who wasn't animated. And I'm assuming that they're referring to Ahsoka Tano there on the animated front. The Force ghosts weren't meant to be voices because they shot that footage on camera. The actors were in costumes. Rey was supposed to be surrounded by Force ghosts to serve as a sort of barrier between her and the Sith surrounding them. So look, that goes hand in hand with a lot of the stuff that we saw coming leaked out about Hayden Christensen was on set. Ewan McGregor was on set. These people were there. We heard these things back ages ago. We heard about this. And then all of a sudden it's not in the movie. Well, it's very confusing to people.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. And it also makes that scene make sense. It's one of the few moments that I will point out would have made the damn scene make sense. I still don't understand why she needed a morale boost in that moment. They didn't accomplish anything. Their presence there didn't mean anything. It didn't do anything except it was like an Atta-girl, and that's it. That's all it was. So I don't understand why we're there. But if they were in fact forming some sort of barrier, because I suppose Jedi Force ghosts have powers now and they can actually affect the real world around them, at least they would have been accomplishing something that made sense to the freaking moment instead of just everybody reinforcing how important Rey is.
I think it was a pity attempt to go against the Mary Sue narrative that she could not do it alone by herself. So she had the help of Jedi past to assist her so that it seemed more believable, I guess. I don't know if that's even
you
the word
realize
to say.
how much continuity lore breaking they're making with just having the Force
Of
Ghost and
course.
the Sith
Of course.
are there, and they're surrounding.
I love that Ahsoka's now already dead. Like, that was fun. Okay, thanks. Now we know what her shelf life looks like.
Exactly. And half of them haven't even been trained to be a Force Ghost if you look back in Revenge of the Sith going forward.
Mhm.
You have to learn
Can
that.
anyone give me a Force Ghost, Alora?
Yeah,
Anyone?
you're a Force Ghost. Just like you're a Force Ghost. You're a Force Ghost. Now go protect Rey because she's our Mary Sue. We got to protect her.
I mean, I guess you could assume that Luke learned how to be a Force Ghost from Obi-Wan, and he taught Leia how to be a Force Ghost too. But Leia was like, "I'm gonna wait on becoming a Force Ghost for a minute. Wait.
I'm gonna hold off there, y'all.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait. Just gonna wait. Oh, she defeated the Emperor. Thirst Ghost.
But look, if you're going to break canon, and that is what this movie does. This movie breaks canon all over the place. But if you're gonna break canon,
it broke Star Wars. Let's be honest.
they've already put it out there that the Force ghosts can impact the world around them, right? Like Yoda's lighting trees on fire and shit. Freaking Luke's throwing lightsabers as a Force. What are you're already breaking the canon, right? But if you're gonna break it, at least have it make some damn sense as to why they're even there in the first place. I'm not down for the scene, but at least it would have been a bit more coherent.
Jedi Weinstein's out there force groping people.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Let's just hope that Epstein didn't become a Force ghost.
Epstein did become a Force ghost. Rise Skywalker killed.
All right. So then they talk about the Force ghosts and the different colors of blue and why things were cut in order to placate China. And so the source knows JJ well enough to know that he's just not the yelling type. Now this is interesting, and I do tend to believe it. They know that JJ is not the yelling type, but apparently in a meeting he yelled something along the lines of, "Why don't you just put directed and written by Lucasfilm then?" My source wasn't present for that exchange, but knows some who were. That is very telling. I do believe 110% that the meddling was to the point, and they've changed it so much at this point, that JJ probably was very frustrated. He was probably at a point where he like you can call him the JJ Abrams, and I agree with that 99.9% of the time, but everyone has a breaking point. Everyone has a point where they sit there and go, this isn't fair. This isn't even what I made, but you're putting my name on it anyway. This is such a terrible representation of what it is that I made. And look, at least you could have had a cohesive movie itself. The movie itself is so badly put together. It's not a stretch to call it a scotch-taped Frankenstein monster of a movie.
Yeah.
You can't follow it. There are plot lines that are picked up and dropped, things that are said and started and never finished, people that are in there for no damn reason other than we got to go to point A, but point B and get this MacGuffin and go over here, right? Their characters don't matter. I do believe that whatever it was that JJ was doing, he's a bad hack. He's a bad director. He's a hack. I'm sorry. He's a bad writer. He's a hack. I do think he's a hack. I think visually he's great, but in terms of writing, he's terrible. But I don't believe he would have given us something this incomprehensible at points.
I wonder what the contract was with Disney on producing this, because, they do have right to say, we don't want this or we don't want that. So I'm very curious to see what his contract is with them and how much creative freedom he has. However, with that creative freedom, he is following a foundation of the 6 original movies. and they are too. So this is where I get really pissed on both sides. And yeah, I get he's pissed too, and I give him that because, you know, again, we don't know what's in the contract, but it's just so sickening that we are at this point asking about the JJ cut.
Yeah, people are begging for a JJ cut. What?
The JJ cut. Sorry.
Right, and I didn't do the map earlier. I dipped out before I forgot. So let's give this real quick. When they finished principal photography in February, that would have been the original J.J. Lucas cut, which had rumored to have Matt Smith in it instead of Palpatine.
Yeah.
And then in April is when we heard that Palpatine was going to be in the movie. That's also about the time they started doing reshoots. Then in November is when we get the 3-hour plus cut. We've been calling that the November cut on our videos. Then you get the next cut, which would be the JJ Disney cut. This one was in between the final version and the one we, you know, and the 3-hour version. And then the final version is what we got in theaters. And that's the version that JJ, or at least this leaker claims that JJ had taken away from him and recut by Disney and had all the fan service taken out. And let's catch up on some super chats real super quick. And I'm sorry. Cal Clay with a Canadian $2. Hey, have you seen Star Wars Imps? Disney saved by fans? ? I checked it out. I haven't got a chance to really watch it yet, but it looks kind of neat. I don't know if you ladies got a chance to see. It's about it's a fan film about Imperial stormtroopers. It looks like so that might be interesting.
I'll check it out, but
I love fan films, so send them all to me.
The fan films have been so much better,
Yep.
so much better than what Disney's been putting out. And I suppose we can all at least appreciate The Mandalorian. So
yes. And then Rude Artist sent us $4.99. Try not to be too harsh about Palpatine still being alive. Dark Empire from EU. The EU was an excellent story, but the problem with that was I think Luke played a. Yeah, I was gonna say, and Luke still played a large part in that. Correct. So I mean, I read the first book back in the day, and I don't remember any of them.
I believe Laura could probably add some light to that.
What's up?
About Palpatine still being alive in the expanded universe.
Oh yeah, so Palpatine. So this is very interesting, and this is where still kind of fans were split, in a sense, is that he learned Sith alchemy, where he can transfer his Force essence, and he had clones. So his body did not survive the explosion like we're seeing here. He transferred his Force essence into his own clones that he had, and so that's where the difference is right there.
So we are at least talking about and he's as Tom mentioned. So Luke Skywalker is involved in this process as well.
Exactly, the twins, and this is where the Skywalker legacy takes hold. Is that the twins get to fully defeat the Sith alchemy clone of Palpatine. There's a difference. It's a clone. We're dealing with the true Sith Lord in the series, which takes away from Anakin Skywalker's whole arc and destroys the whole Skywalker legacy. And that's where a lot of fans are really upset and frustrated, is that the Skywalker legacy is what's been undermined here. The fact that this was the bloodline that was chosen one. Anakin was supposed to be the chosen one. These are his children. And at least you had that sort of buffer there with his own children, where Luke Skywalker's children are involved here. And so I think that's where a lot of the backlash comes from, where you have some Ben Solo. Why the fuck does Leia give a shit about naming her kid Ben Solo? It makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But anyway,
I still have to highlight this. Luke Skywalker didn't kill himself.
Yes,
himself to fucking death.
He didn't force himself to death. Don't say that.
They overdose on the Force now. That's what we're getting at Disney. Now you can overdose on the fucking Force.
Give me some more Force. I need it.
So,
Matt, geez, this is hilarious.
It's a drug.
I heard they're still shooting. What's the problem?
Yeah, they're still creating a better ending so they can include it.
I hope that still exists 30 years from now. I hope 30 years from now.
Thank you so much for that, Matt. Geez.
Telling my grandkids that they're still shooting for the Rise of Skywalker.
And I'm trying to find it here, but we have this holy crap super chat here. I can't find it in the stupid thing. But Matthew Sturgis sent us $49.99. Disney, unfortunately, is writing by committee. Currently, there's no respect for this. Oh, here it is. Finally. There's no respect for the source material, and Kennedy has been pushing femme politics. Here's hoping we got some leadership that respects the fandom and the source material.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
And
think
this
they're
is what
lining
we've all
up.
been preaching.
Thank you, Matthew, for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support.
Yes,
Yes,
we
thank you.
really appreciate it. And tell your friends. But no, like I do think that they're lining up potential new leadership in perhaps Jon Favreau. And I could not agree more
Yeah.
with the notion that Kathleen Kennedy is pushing her fracking fem politics into this nonsense. And there's a bit here at the bottom that I'm gonna get into when we get towards the end of this,
Okay.
That really reinforces that in my mind. Her so much so that she's willing to act a little racist to push her fem politics, if you ask me. So I think God, the woman is insufferable, completely insufferable.
I'm not interested in anything that takes place after the sequel trilogy, or even has anything to do with the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, nobody cares. This is going to fade. That's the problem here. This is where I think we're teetering on with this as well, is that you're now hitting a point where fans are no longer angry, because angry would imply that we care, right?
Yeah.
Now we're hitting
spotlighting certain holes in the timelines and stuff at this point, and building new storylines around that. It doesn't really matter, because the end of it, where it's headed, we know, and it takes all the joy out of getting to know how we get there. And it's just, it sucks. It really sucks.
We're hitting a place where apathy is starting to take hold on people. Oh, JJ cut. Oh, yay, hooray, an extra 30 minutes. Stupid shit, right? Like,
I'm more passionate about the Batman Superman cut thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Snyder cut.
Whatever his goddamn name is.
We got another super chat. Ryan187, one of our lovely admins over on the Facebook page. Tips are 10-gallon hat, says, for my peeps. But Star Wars has always sucked. Analyzing its failures is like analyzing the failure of Twilight. Well, it is now with this Raylo crap. Yeah, it definitely is for sure.
If you're talking about the sequel trilogy, I would agree with that. I personally was not on board from The Force Awakens. Now, Star Wars itself, the IP as a whole, and certainly the original trilogy, helped shape who I am as a person. I grew up on it. And Luke Skywalker, being the wonderful space Jesus that he was, taught me what it was to love someone who you didn't think was redeemable, taught me what it was to have hope when there was no hope, and taught me what it was to stand strong and true to your convictions, even in the face of death. And so that's paramount to my who I am as a person today. It's
you know what though? I would watch the entire Twilight series before I would watch the sequel stuff.
Probably, I'm with you.
As ridiculous as the concept of the story is, and the characters and everything, there's at least some character development. There's plot. There's the story goes on. As ridiculous and stupid and childish as the story is, it's entertaining. The music's really good.
Well,
yeah, and a lot of people who give everybody grief about how Padme died of a broken heart. I'm just going to say what happened to Carrie Fisher's mom in real life. I'm second guessing my original thoughts about that. I mean, she literally killed over the day after her daughter died. So I'm just saying, I feel like that was one of my biggest issues in there. But now I'm like, okay, well, never mind now.
Well, I don't think it's good for storytelling. You'd have to do it very, very carefully. But like, I don't like the way Padme
breaking my heart.
You're breaking my heart. But I do think Leia's death was very similar, and you can use the Force as an excuse, but it doesn't make any damn sense. So someone explain to me. Hold on. Someone explain this to me. You call out someone's name in the Force, which is all we saw her do on screen. Okay.
Yeah.
All we saw her do. It was never explained to us in any way, shape, or form what kind of an actual impact this might have on him, how she might have actually influenced him with the Force. All we perceived was her saying Ben, right? And it distracted him a little bit. Since when does calling someone's name through the Force kill you? Citation needed. Okay, hold on. So we go back to The Empire Strikes Back. Luke's just had his hand cut off. He's hanging off of some railing, about to die, yo. He's about to die. And he calls out to Leia through the Force. He's just had his freaking hand cut off.
Yes.
He's barely hanging on, right? We see the traumatic experience he's just gone through. And if anyone might have had difficulty holding on to life in that moment because we understand how traumatized he is, it might have been Luke Skywalker. Leia, with no build-up, no lead-up, no anything, out of nowhere, goes, lays down, says Ben, and dies.
Can I read part of the leaks? Because there's a bit in there about this.
Please.
Okay, yes. Let's get
Before you do that, I got to say this one. Matt G sent $5. Jeremy had an idea about episode 10 taking place like 100 years after episode 9. Too bad somebody had burned down Jeremy and Minecraft mishap.
Mishap is not the word. It was deliberate.
And it took a lot of work to
Took
finally
3
cancel
fucking
him.
hours to
He
burn
was-
that guy down.
He is impervious to canceling, I swear to God.
And while you guys are doing that, this has been some fun. Chef Koji in chat with $5 says, working on Star Wars recipes, barbecue pork ribs, stormtrooper MREs, death sticks, spice candy. Any suggestions? I said salacious bee crumb cake. You guys need to get your ideas out there for them. There you go.
Baby
There
Yoda
you
soup.
go.
You need some spice loaf. It's from Corellia.
Blue,
So if
you
wanna
need to
make
make it soy milkshakes that are blue for
Yeah.
certain.
No, green. They got to be green. They got to be green. Soy milkshakes that have to be green, not blue, because blue is in the original, and there's nothing wrong with it. But fucking A, if that freaking green milk didn't come right out of the titty of a sea whale.
Oh yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Fuck my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I share my screen?
Please. Oh, that's on Tom. Back to the point of Leia forcing herself to death just because she said a name through the Force. Because that kills you now.
Oh yeah.
That kills you now.
Pretty
No
much.
trauma needed. No lead up needed. No lead up needed whatsoever. Guys, she's gonna go lay down and die. She's given all she has. Why? She was just leading an army 2 seconds ago. She was fine. What the fuck are you on about?
It's like you're staring at you. Okay. So this is part of the Reddit leaks. Rey not only healed Kylo's face scar, but she killed Kylo when she healed Ben. Kylo ceased to exist when Rey healed him. My source mentioned that some people assume it was Han Solo who healed him, but that isn't true. That wasn't Han Solo. That was Leia using her own memories as well as Ben's to create a physical manifestation of his own thoughts to nudge him towards what he needed to do. That was her own way of communicating that with him, and it wasn't possible without her dying in the process. She
That
made
was
the
never made in the
ultimate
movie.
sacrifice for her son, and this flew over people's heads with the Disney cut.
Yes.
So
So this
it
is
didn't fly over people's heads because we've seen Luke call out to Leia and it was successfully done. And he was basically hanging on for his life, literally.
So this is a moment where some people have a leg to stand on, where they can argue that the JJ cut is bound to be at least moderately better because some of these things are explained. I still think it's stupid. I still think it's really stupid because there's no precedent set, and so many things have no precedents set within the canon Disney Star Wars canon, because you wiped all that EU away. It doesn't count anymore. Remember, Disney? You haven't set that precedence for moviegoers. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay.
Well, just with the Force stuff, like I can see him looking at Yoda sort of struggling to lift up Luke's X-wing and seeing like, well, maybe you can overdo it, but overdoing it does not mean you die. Overdoing it means like you strain your
Like
back.
you pass out like little baby Yoda does. You pass
like,
out.
it is sort of lifting something really heavy. You don't just shit, that's too heavy, I'm dead now.
Yeah.
You know, you have some muscle in your back. Or
Well,
something.
it must run in the family because literally Kylo did the same thing. So
Yeah, only the Skywalkers are ODing on the Force. What happened to being the kids and the family of the chosen one?
I don't know.
Really?
Maybe it's a side effect. Maybe it's a side effect of. But
They're
is that
Force
what we're-
junkies.
That's where we're left. That's what we're left to conclude at this point, though, ladies. We are left to conclude that it is a fatality to be a member of the Skywalker family because you're likely to OD on the Force. That's
Unless
the
you're
only
Rey
logical
and
conclusion.
you take the name. She healed it now because she
She's fine.
fucking took the name.
midichlorian count over 9,000.
Oh,
yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, and I had to bring this. I had to bring this up.
fine.
Slithering Peanut says they had Leia OD on the Force, even though they knew what problems Carrie Fisher had. Talk about disgusting disrespect to her. And not only that, I mean, you had that part of it. And I never really thought about it that way. That's
I did.
true.
That was something in the back of my
Um,
head where I didn't kind of like the taste of that. It was kind of
It was
odd.
It was a tough pill to swallow. Sorry. Ooh, sorry. That was not meant to be a joke. I just realized it after I said it. I'm so sorry.
But no, I mean, seriously, though, I mean, it made more sense to let her get killed in The Last Jedi. They had
Honest
a year
mistake.
to do it. They knew she was going, she wasn't going to be able to come back for the next film. They had a more than an ample time to fix this mess, and they screwed it up.
They opted to do this. They absolutely opted to do this. And what we were conveyed on screen doesn't make any damn sense. So you're left leaving fans feeling like they have to somehow come up with a way to justify why it is that all these damn Skywalkers are dying from the Force. So let's go ahead.
It's an epidemic, a plague.
Yeah.
We gotta quit.
Maybe it's better that they're all gone now, guys. Maybe it's better because Rey will be a much better Skywalker than any of the Skywalkers ever. Right? It's going to be so much better, guys. You're going to love it. I don't give a shit. So my source says JJ. Okay, so if you guys remember, if you remember back to that interview that he gave, where he was asked about the criticism for The Rise of Skywalker, right? And he said that he would say that fans were right, that they had every right to criticize it. That apparently, but a lot of people took that as a joke. So he says, my source says that JJ was most likely not joking when he said "you're right" in the interview where they asked him about the criticism. And so this goes back to whether or not you buy that there's a J.J. Abrams cut. I do buy that there's a J.J. Abrams cut. 100% lock, stock, and barrel. I buy that. The motivations behind their existing, such a cut existing, are a bit murky. But I do buy that J.J. Abrams is jaded. He's upset. He's frustrated, and that he probably feels pretty beaten down and worn at this point. And so when he looks at you on the screen and he's doing the interview,
Poor white male.
Yeah, well, poor toxic white male.
Poor rich ass white male. I'm just kidding. I got nothing against white males. I'm just saying. The pity me JJ party is not in my it's not in my ability to have. So I can't. I'm sorry. You gave us Bad Robot, dude. I am not going to be on this pity me train.
Mm-hmm.
No, sir.
It's just a cover up. It's just a cover up. I'm sorry. That's what I believe. It's just a cover up because he has it, he's leaving. And Disney has no one else to blame. But I don't feel sorry for any of these people because look what they gave us.
Yeah.
They gave us a bunch of bullshit.
And I don't believe you can make it that much better. I think you can I think it's possible to make The Rise of Skywalker itself, the movie itself, a more cohesive story. I do think it's possible to make the movie itself a bit more enjoyable. But I do not believe that it's possible to fix this trilogy or the franchise as a whole if you count this trilogy as canon, which I do not.
I don't even think if they made it into a TV series, they could fix this.
There's no fixing this. The Last Jedi did far too much damage. I just don't, especially not if you're going with the storyline that they went with in The Rise of Skywalker, and which I think was silly. I don't think that they should have brought back Palpatine. So in January, JJ suggested that they turn this into 2 films, which I could see. I think would have helped. I think it certainly would have helped if we'd had 2 films, because at least then we would have had time to absorb things, right? My source told me this well before Terrio mentioned it in an interview a couple of days ago. So this was also confirmed outside of this article. When Disney said no, JJ was content with making this 3 hours long. So again, further meddling. Can we do 2 movies? No, we can't do 2 movies. Can we do 3 hours? Fine, we can do 3 hours. And then they whittle it down from there, and the frustrations continue. So over a period of 9 months, JJ started realizing that one by one, his ideas and whole scenes were being taken or were being thrown out the window, or entirely altered by people who have no business meddling with the creatives. That's a strong word to call yourself creative there, dude.
There's no creative in that department or in that. No, there's none. None.
Mystery box.
Yeah.
Copy and paste does not count.
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick is actually, I really liked Babu Frick.
I kind of did too.
I like
I
Babu Frick.
remember him. He was so beginning and end, and it's over.
Well, actually, they have a reason for him being so little role in there in your Reddit leaks.
So they were not on the same page when it came to the creative decisions, and it became obvious that Disney had an agenda. In addition to wanting to please shareholders, which he failed to do, Disney could afford messing up 9 for the sake of the bigger picture when it came to protecting things unrelated to 9, referring to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is conspiracy hat theory. This is tinfoil hat. This is where you say to yourself, okay, Disney is actually willing to go ahead and deliberately screw up Star Wars Episode 9, Star Wars the entire saga, Star Wars the Disney trilogy. They're willing to screw that up royally in order to protect Marvel. It's not that I don't see a world in which that's possible. I do see it as a world that's possible when you're talking about a giant corporation that oversees so many different IPs. Is that possible? Yes. Is it likely? I think not. The cut JJ eventually and hesitantly agreed to in early December was 2 hours and 37 minutes long. It wasn't the cut we saw, which he wouldn't have approved of, and which is 22 hours and 22 minutes long. Apart from the Force ghosts, there were other crucial and emotional scenes missing. The cut they released looked chopped and taped back together with weak Scotch tape, JJ's words. And I agree, it does look chopped and Scotch taped back together.
Yep.
We're going to scroll down here a little bit and move towards stuff that makes a little bit. These are
While you're doing that, can I grab a couple of these super chats?
Please do.
All right, because I love them so much. We got Mr. Mamelo once again. Just, you might as well say you're going to just sponsor the show at this point. New Zealand 1250. Y'all little baby Yoda. Sure. I don't know what he means by that, but okay.
I love it.
We all love Baby Yoda. Even those who don't really like him, they secretly do like Ryan.
I want
Kelly.
all the Baby Yodas. I have a P.O. box. Send them to me.
Yeah, so you can see who's talking. Sorry. Matt G, $5. In the CW, Mortis' daughter forced healed Ahsoka, then died. At least if Rey had been connected to them, Ahsoka being in Rey's head would make sense. Yeah, and I think, have you guys got to the bit yet where they talk about none of the television series characters were in the original cut or any of that yet? If not, I think that's near the end.
I think that's towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the super chats. So go ahead, Mary. Sorry.
So this is where the article starts to get some real weight to
I take it back. We just got another one.
Rewind.
Get
that
it
okay?
together. I'm just kidding.
Dr. Jengus sent us $20. You guys are just killing it tonight, guys. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
remember when
loving the
George
support.
Takei united Star Trek and Star Wars fans against the Twilight fandom? Star Wars became Twilight from edgy male fan love interest to plain female character per Reylo's fan star.
Yeah,
Insert
it
their
did-
fantasy into it. Did.
It did, and then it didn't real quick because that kiss that ended up to be the death blowing kiss, the death giving kiss.
Yes.
It's like Reylos, I give you this gift. They have kissed, and now he is dead because of that kiss. So well done, Reylos. I hope you enjoyed what you got. It was a brief, fleeting moment of Reylo-ness that I'm sure have been ingrained in your brains, and now you can all go crazy ape shit on Twitter about how pissed off you are that he is now dead because of it. So glory. It's beautiful.
Yep.
They are not happy. So
The Mary Sue took it all.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the post where we get into where only time will tell, right? And there are a few things that can let us know whether or not this is a legitimate post. And as I said, I am inclined to believe the post, or at least the stuff in it that goes about explaining what could have been on screen. So if they do release a JJ cut, if it does wind up over on Disney Plus, or if fans are able to ever get it pulled out, that is the only way we'll ever know for sure if this is a legit post, I think. But this is where it starts to feel pretty weighty for me. So Kylo on Mustafar's scene was 2 minutes longer. These are the scenes that they're telling us were cut. There was a moment where Kylo seemed a bit dizzy and his vision was shown as blurry for a second, almost as if time half stopped, while everyone in the background was slow-mo fighting. Kylo hears Vader's breathing, then shakes his head, and time goes back to moving at a normal pace. And he jumps right back into the battle. The scene from the trailer where he knocks that guy down, which did end up in the movie later. So an example of one of the ways that it would have been lengthened. And it would have been nice to have a little more time before freaking Palpatine was just like, right? That would have been helpful. So I do see how this could have been, at least in terms of the flow of the movie, beneficial. They cut some of the scenes from the light speed skipping segment. I don't see why this matters. Some of the planets that were cut were Kashyyyk, Naboo, and Kamino. I don't fucking care.
I can't believe they cut more planets that they skipped to. It already felt like musical freaking planet chairs at that point. Like adding more, they had more planets that they.
Yeah,
I do want to touch on this for 2 seconds because I didn't understand the light speed skipping thing, because I only thought that they were skipping like a few miles ahead on one planet, not questions.
Don't ask questions. What are you doing?
It was stupid. It was stupid. The light speed skipping is stupid. You shouldn't be able to do it. It's not.
Be able to do that.
No, they have the hyperspeed. They have the hyperspeed lanes that they have to use. There's no like skipping here and there like you're skipping friggin' rocks.
No, but even then though, it's very much shows JJ does not understand distances. The distances between
parsecs.
You know how far away Mars is from where we are right now? It looks like a dot in the sky. And it would not take a few seconds to just skip there through light speed.
No, and even in the EU, like the original EU, it took weeks or a few days or, to get to one place to another. And that's written in the books. And then when you watch Empire Strikes Back, even though it's not really necessarily said verbally, it takes them a while to get where they need to be.
They have to get back to the base. They have to get back to the rebellion. They're tracking them, right? Well, like if this how do you track someone? You have to literally track them because there's a route to take. This doesn't happen instantaneously. Hyperspace is fast. Yes, certainly it's fast, but it's not instantaneous. And that is a fundamental. But I guess we're just a bunch of nerds freaking out over space wizards in a galaxy.
We're certainly giving it a lot more thought than they did. So the logistics of space can be tough for people in Hollywood. I mean,
They matter for a reason. You cannot have a cohesive story. You cannot work within parameters to tell a story if those parameters don't exist. Yes, rules matter. Otherwise, and again, I can't remember exactly how Mahler worded it over on it, but when he was like, you might as well just write a story about a guy who's walking around on the sun and decides to forego everything. And I'm a potato now. And now that I'm a potato, I'm going to go over here. And as a potato, I'm going to eat some Jolly Ranchers. And like, you have to have rules that work. You can't just do or say or be anything or whatever. Rules have to exist for a reason. You have to work within those confines for a reason. Otherwise, you venture into the realm of the absurd. And when you venture into the realm of the absurd, you have to embrace what that's going to mean to your moviegoers. We will laugh at you. We will laugh at you because it's absurd. So if that's not the reaction you want, then maybe make some rules and stick to them.
Just reminiscent of Star Trek with that stupid teleporter thing that he created. It's the same thing. Same freaking thing over and over again with him. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how space works. It's just beyond his ability to just understand things. What is space? How does space work? Can't you just teleport wherever you want to when you have light speed? He's an idiot, and that bothers the shit out of me.
Well, he's even having them teleport through the Force as well, so it makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's like all of a sudden, bam, you could be here and there and everywhere.
Like teleportation, he likes putting ships in atmospheres. He likes clumping things together, and he likes having things rise out of water. That's JJ.
No, he's actually just separating the plant from, or the plane from the object. The separating the ship from the object. It's not just simply rising out of the water. No.
Right.
That'd be too easy. No, she's separating the planet from the ship.
Yeah. So some of the scenes here that are cut do tend to lead me to believe that the J.J. Abrams version, again, is why I say it will be a bit more cohesive. Jannah was confirmed to be Lando's daughter. Remember Jannah, guys? She was the other black stormtrooper who defected.
That had the same storyline as Finn that made him unique in the first place. Yeah. Oh, how stereotypically shallow of them.
Incredibly special they both are. So she actually had a story arc. She was confirmed to be Lando's daughter, and the whole reason she was sitting there on the log talking to a complete fucking stranger, telling him all about her past, like some like, seriously, have you ever met those kind of people? Those are not the kind of people that you like. The people who you've never met before, but you're sitting down next to, and for some reason they start telling you their life fucking story, and you're just sitting there going, I don't fucking care. Why are you here? Can you go? I'm gonna move now. Have fun with that nutcase. You don't sit there and get into the conversation with them. The only reason it would make sense is if, in fact, she was Lando's daughter. That was not left ambiguous in the JJ's cut, according to this post. So yeah, Jannah's not a weirdo sitting there making everybody really uncomfortable, telling her life story.
Lando isn't hitting on some chick, like
Jannah.
Wanna come see the Millennium Falcon? I got
Colt 45. All the stormtroopers bother the shit out of me, but
Yeah.
And do you know that in the visual dictionary for the Rise of Skywalker, it is hinted in there that basically that she is supposed to be his daughter as well, because it shares that his daughter was stolen from him by the First Order. So
How?
But
the
instead,
that
he's
was
hanging
going-
out with Luke on a planet for 30 years.
Just to help them get to a wayfinder.
Yeah.
Mhm. That matches up to the Death Star perfectly because
So
Palpatine
convoluted.
knew this all along.
Yeah.
It's okay, guys. Lando's just a shitty dad too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
of course.
Aren't they
Oh, that
all?
breaks my heart.
It does. I know.
Well,
I hate how
didn't
dads
want
get
him to
such
be
a
a
bad
dad.
rap in film. It's so sad.
Did anyone want him to be a dad?
no,
To
I
settle
didn't.
down?
It didn't bother me either way, but the
I'm sure a lot of women in
insinuation-
the galaxy wanted to have his baby, but
yeah.
If anybody's your daddy, it's Lando.
No,
y'all.
I would have
Yeah.
liked to have him be sort of a character that just never settled down and was just a player for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
and that would
No,
have
he
been
settled
fine.
down in the EU. He settled down.
Well,
He had
still,
a kid.
And
that
that
would have been nice
fine.
if he was just
It
a
would
player.
have been fine though if
But he
had
still was a smooth guy, and he still, what flirted around with Leia and stuff, and so it was great banter in the original EU. He still maintained his character.
Mhm.
It was amazing until
So-
we got this.
So we're not going to go over this next one because we already did. Miss did that earlier. The one about how the Leia died because of exactly how she went about doing her whole sacrifice for her son or whatever. This flew over people's head in the Disney cut for good reason because there was no explanation.
But I hope they call it force communicating her son his thoughts and manifesting them into a person so that he does the right thing. Power.
Which kind of sounds manipulative if you ask me.
Because men can't do the right thing for themselves without a
Nope.
woman telling them what to do, right?
Exactly.
Right.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, congratulations.
So
So
catch that. Hmm.
So,
Ridiculous.
let's see here. This is the Rose Tico stuff. So, the late November cut, the last cut JJ approved of, if this post is to be believed, had scenes with Rose and Rey still. JJ wanted to give her a more meaningful arc. Now, this is placating all those people who thought Rose Tico got the shaft. And look, if you go by what The Last Jedi put out there, yeah, she was a main character. You shouldn't ignore it. I don't like her, but yeah, this is incoherent. It doesn't make any sense when you sit it next to the last movie. So Disney felt that was too risky. My source mentioned that Chris Terrio said that it was because of the Leia scenes, but this is only partially true because she had 4 other scenes, including 2 with Rey/Daisy that Leia was not in. So there were 2 other scenes here that could have been put up there, but because Disney's chicken shit, they didn't put it into the movie. And of course, JJ Abrams is incredibly scared of
Did
that.
you just call him the JJ Abrams?
I
Yes, but JJ.
Why have I not heard that before? That is
We-
amazing. I'm only calling him the JJ from now on.
But we said
God
it earlier.
damn, that was
we said
beautiful.
it earlier,
Yeah, we said
Candace.
earlier.
Oh, then I missed it. In one ear, out the other. Sorry. I sometimes
Yeah,
just
I don't
space
get
out.
to take credit for that one. I just piggybacked on
Who
it.
said it? Who said it first?
I think it was Alora.
Alora.
I did.
yeah, we've
Well
had
done, my
JJ
dear.
hashtag the JJ Abrams going all night, my dear.
Did I am like so slow to that game. God dang it. Beautiful. Beautiful.
It is beautiful. We're praising it for JJ. It's beautiful.
While we got a moment though, I got to catch up on these super chats. Matt G sent us another $5. Thank you so much, sir. JJ misunderstood. 3-hour cut includes previews and the cartoons that tells you to buy snacks throughout the trash. And there's JJ's cut of that cartoon.
Lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby. And Mr. Mamello, if MR Mamello, if I'm ever
Mr.
gonna say it
Mamello?
right. $5, yay for Space Wizards.
Yeah.
Yay.
Trace XL sends $10. Once again, Dad so Ray kisses Kylo daughter. Yay, that's so cute. I love them so much. You're the best, Dad. Plot twist. He dies right after daughter screaming, "Oh, I hate you, Dad." Storms off tweeting. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Tracy's awesome.
Thank you, Trace, for the support.
Why you're the best dad? I mean, it's like, yay, thank you for telling me that, Dad.
Dad.
And we got one more rude artist once again. In the EU, if someone gets someone's kid got kidnapped, every main character and no less than 3 side characters would have to come to the rescue. There's more incest going on than there is on the Game of Thrones. Jesus.
Ooh.
Oh, the JJ Love Fest continues,
JJ.
says Mr.
But JJ Love Fest.
The JJ Abrams. That's right.
Yeah.
JJ Abrams.
Oh gosh.
So, and this is
Hashtag.
another part that it got cut from the movie, and it got completely cut because, and this is one of the big reasons why I think people point out that this movie was scotch taped together. Remember Finn running around yelling, "Ray, gotta taste him, Ray, Ray, hey, Ray." Apparently, so what he was trying to tell her was always meant that he was force sensitive. In the 3-hour cut, it's explicitly stated. There was a moment where Jana and he were running up on top of that Star Destroyer, and Finn needed to unlock or move something, and he force moved it and acted surprised when it happened. This was replaced with a CGI'd BB-8 fixing whatever he needed to fix on there.
Remember when Luke accidentally used the Force?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, totally.
No,
Yeah,
I mean like
no, look, no, because remember now Baby Yoda can accidentally use the Force too, right?
Yeah. Everybody's like shitting the Force out everywhere. That's how it is right now.
there's some effort. That's
We're not allowed to get bad about that because everybody will rip my ass a new one if I
accidentally
point out
lifted
Baby
something.
Yoda stuff.
You know, he got so mad when he saw like Aunt Beru and he accidentally lifted her body and threw it.
Like Broom Boy 2.0 now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Babu Frick was nearly cut because some execs at Disney thought he would be the new Jar Jar. I could totally see that. They are really surprised that people love him this much. He was JJ's idea and was created in collaboration with some artists and puppeteers. The personality was all JJ.
I like Babu Frick. I'm sorry.
I just
I'm
felt
all
like
right
he
with
was forgettable. I didn't feel like he was particularly.
I just love
thought
the
that
name.
was nonsense. I
Yeah.
did.
He's whatever to me. I didn't even remember who the hell he was. So there were a bunch of scenes where Rey and Kylo separately went through quiet moments of reflection that was sorely needed in this film to deal with what they were going through. On her part, her going through the realization that there's something sinister about her past, him going through regret and remorse, but trying to shut it out. My source, sorry, where the heck did I just go? My source said that Kylo's scenes were especially amazing because of Adam's performance and how he managed to portray that inner turmoil. It provided much more context and added deeper meaning to both his battle with Rey and the final redemption arc at the end. It didn't happen so suddenly, and it was more structured than what we got. And I think that that's an important thing to note is why I say it's not possible to make this movie worse, right? I really don't think it's possible to make this movie worse because Kylo Ren switched out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere with that. He was just like, okay, I'm good now. I mean, like, okay, Leia dies because she force says his name. And what we get is Kylo Ren, who nearly blew her up his damn self and certainly murdered his own damn father, switches because of that, right? We get no inner turmoil. It's so abrupt and it's so difficult to absorb. And I hated it so much because you just told us he was the villain. You just told us in The Last Jedi that this was our bad guy.
But they can't develop an arc. So basically you got bam, he's one thing and bam, there's another. There's no development even in this.
Yeah. It's not cohesive and it does not work with The Last Jedi at all. It really doesn't. JJ was against the Reylo kiss or Reylo in general. This was Disney's attempt to please both sides of the fandom, and yet you pissed them all off.
It's beautiful. I am actually okay with the kiss because of the result of it.
Yeah. Yes. And I piss people off by saying it's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, okay, so I did a video about someone's reporting saying it was JJ's idea for the kiss in another article. And so we have this, so we have conflicting issues right here, right now. That it was reported that JJ loved the kiss and that's why it was in there. Now we have here
There's
that he
plenty
didn't
of
like it.
contradictions in this whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Was that where he was saying it? He thought it was more of a sisterly, brotherly
Oh,
kiss,
yeah.
though.
Yes. Because he
See,
just
that goes into the. I think it's not in this leak, but I think it either was in a different leak or something we reported because I think they had said something like he wanted it to be like more like a brother sister thing, and they were fighting for more of a Reylo thing. Yes.
and then they kiss.
Yeah. So I'm going to read this last bit here, and we'll start to kind of wring this down. So JJ was not happy with where The Last Jedi took the story. No one was. The final result was a mix of that story and the story told by Disney and whoever they tried to impress, certainly not the fans. I don't even think they know who the fans are anymore. JJ is gutted over the final result. Star Wars means a lot to him. Well, that doesn't make you a good writer, buddy. So he had to sacrifice large chunks of the story in The Force Awakens, but he was promised more creative control in The Rise of Skywalker. And instead, the leash they had on him was only tightened as time went by. A source said that this was the one franchise and the one piece of his work that he didn't want to mess up. And instead, it turned into his worst nightmare. I'm sorry to hear that. When he found out that he was blindsided with the cut they presented, he said, "What the fuck?" When Kylo was fighting the Knights of Ren at the end of the Williams music that it was used for, it was not what he wanted at all. He seemed to think it was out of place. I think a lot of the movie was out of place. And then last but not least here, as JJ's cut still exists, and this is the main point that they want to get across to us here. JJ's cut exists, guys, and you should care. And we'll all
I hate hearing JJ's cut. Is really weird to me. My mind goes to a weird place. I just don't know. JJ's cut is, I don't know, kind of weird. But anyway, it's I don't want the uncut. We'll just say that do we want the JJ cut?
Well, we most likely will never see it, and this is where they sort of tug on you a little
with
bit.
that.
Unless someone accidentally leaks it. So they wanted us to call for this here. They wanted us to call for this. And then this is the thing I wanted to get to. This is the one I like. I like pointing at this one. The source asked about Finn and Poe after seeing Oscar Isaac's comment about how Disney didn't want the relationship, the Finn-Poe relationship. They didn't want it to be a thing. This is true. JJ fought to make Finn and Poe happen. This is why Oscar is blaming Disney. It's not just a random throwaway comment. He knows for a fact that it was Disney because these discussions happened. The main cast is insanely close with JJ, which I buy, and are just as pissed, though seemingly more outspoken about it than JJ. During The Force Awakens, Disney was hesitant. Disney was hesitant to hire John Boyega because a woman was front and center. So they deemed that risky enough. So bringing on a male lead who's black made them nervous.
Ooh, they're nervous by the black man.
They're nervous from black dudes? Okay.
Yes.
Racist Disney is racist.
We're the racist guys. We're the racists. We're the sexists. We're the bigots. We're the misogynists. We're everything. The deplorables. The basket of deplorables. The pieces of shit that should go buy another fucking ticket. That's us. What?
Disney is scared of a black man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. I mean, that's probably why. Is that why they literally back of the bust him? I mean that in every sense of that. Why would they have done that? Yeah, it's ridiculous. He had one of the best arc opportunities out of anybody on that show, on the movie.
I will tell you.
And they done fucked it up.
I will tell you.
Because they scared. Okay.
I will tell you exactly why they did it. Because Kathleen Kennedy wanted her strong, empowered women on the screen. She didn't want an oppression Olympics game to start. She didn't want her beautiful, precious, empowered Rey to wind up getting shoved off to the side because the minute that you stick someone of color up there, her whammon card gets
God
revoked.
damn it.
She's no longer the most oppressed one. You should no longer give as much of a shit because the oppression Olympics have started, right? Never mind. Never mind that Finn had the most compelling backstory. Never mind that Finn was the only one that had something that jump-started your heart when you realized that he had to abandon everyone, right? Everything he'd ever known in his entire life because he knew that this was the right thing to do, right? Never mind all that. Rey has a vagina. And that supersedes.
Does she really, though? I mean, I don't know. She seems kind of like, she's like the Barbie doll version. I think she's just so plain and blah and like so perfect. I feel like it's just all plastic anyway.
The Force is African American.
Go ahead.
And they virtue signal this. They basically stereotype Finn like hell. And yet they didn't want him. So like cast him to the side. Let's stereotype him as the janitor so we can make our Rey shine.
Yeah. And I got to say this because I apologize to all of you out there. There was a big chunk of super chats that were skipped. StreamYards has been acting up all night on me.
But Tom did not forget them. He found
I got them. I found them. So we're going to do them real super
you.
quick here. Larry, $5. A woman wrote the initial screenplay of Empire Strikes Back. This is very true. Lee Brackett. She wrote many westerns and some sci-fi films. Great stream. Yeah, and she actually sadly passed away just before the movie began filming. And her version got rewrote actually, but I do believe they still made sure she got credit. MR Mamelo sends us another $2.50. That foil hat so hot right now. The Treklosopher sent us $5. Y'all should start branding and selling your own line of tinfoil hats. Mary's tinfoil hat is a classic. I know we're working on a t-shirt, but I will keep that in mind.
I'll do one with like a feather hanging on the side there, so I can represent my culture.
Little beads hanging down.
Yeah, each of you have a different version. Yeah, to diversify them. There you go.
There you go.
Fan art exhibit sent us Australian $5. Thank you so much. Given we've seen a lot of bland female heroes recently, moving forward, what would your girls like to see from a new female heroes in the future? That's a good question.
I got this. You ready?
Okay.
A good story. I don't give a shit.
I'll second that.
I would say relatability. I would say don't be scared to have a complex female character. Don't make her one note. Don't make her strong because of muscles. That when there's clearly not any because she's Hollywood super skinny. I just want somebody who can be relatable, vulnerable. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I think I am. I'll always be disappointed.
No, what you're asking for is Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, I do love her. Oh God,
Someone
I love her.
Who worked alongside men instead of shutting them down.
Yeah, I would love for someone to be an ally of men instead of using men to get ahead and then pushing them down instead of bringing them up when they helped her there in the first place.
Not to mention, wasn't intimidated by the fact that they could also be strong and powerful, that you could stand side by side with a strong, powerful man, and it didn't negate you as a female in any way, shape, or form. Why? That's what blows my mind about this feminazi woke movement nonsense. Why are you so intimidated by men if you're so strong and so powerful? Why are you so worried?
Men and women are supposed to work hand in hand in tandem. They're made like that on so many levels for that reason. And to deny that because of agenda makes you have a weak male or a weak female lead character every time. Every time.
I asked for Leia Organa Solo from the original trilogy. That's who I ask for. Someone like that.
Yes.
Who can work side and hold her own with the guys, who can lift them up when they're needed to and is not afraid to take action when she's needed.
And has that empathy, that heart, that emotion involved when it's necessary. When Luke is sitting there grieving Ben because he just watched him die, she goes over and she realizes this is the moment where he needs someone with a heart. And they don't deny that femininity. They don't deny that empathy that is innate to so many women, to most women, I would dare to say. You don't have to deny a woman's femininity.
How they wrote Mara Jade in the trilogy is how they need to have a female hero depicted almost every time on screen. Just use that as your recipe and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's complexity, there's femininity, and there's strength. Big time strength. And she doesn't push aside Luke to have that strength. No, she embraces him.
They complement each other. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
We like that toxic man and woman together.
And then I was going to say that, and then there's toxic femininity, which is what you're watching. And Cal Clay sent us another $5 super chat from Canada. The last one from me tonight. Check out creator Mahler. Already know him very well. Actually, been on a few podcasts with him. EFAP and Unbridled Rage Star Wars videos, potential Midnight's Edge and After Dark future guest. I've been trying. We are going to continue to try, and hopefully one of these days we will get his butt on one of our podcasts. That would be amazing.
I've been out with Mahler twice.
Yeah, I've hung out with him a couple times. He's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then we had another one from MR Mallow. Mallow, this is what started the whole thing in the first place. He sent us a lemon character blowing a red heart. That's one I didn't see, and that's where I was like, okay, I missed one somewhere, and then I realized I missed a hell of a lot more than just one.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much, MR Mallow, for that, because otherwise I wouldn't have noticed. And that brings us almost up to speed, but we got a few more here. But these I'm actually caught up on the main thing here. So Dr. Jengus sends us $5. Isn't Yoda a bad dad? Be out for a pack of smoke. Be out for a pack of smoke on Dagobah, Will. A pain this is, child. A pain this is, child is. Bounty droid cheaper to child support payments it will be.
Oh wow!
Because that's the theme of Disney.
Oh,
Is that parents, they're deadbeat dads. That's the theme.
You have a
we
dad in
here.
Disney. You in Disney? Your dad dead. Your mom dead. Everybody dead. And if they're not dead, they're shithole parents.
Oh, they died and they died saving you because yay plot.
Reasons. Tug on them heartstrings, y'all. Tug on them heartstrings. So I think that's pretty much how to kind of wrap this up. He tried to make a lot of things happen and was shut down because of this. They had a leash on him, and many to blame. And many blamed The Last Jedi for the stricter creative approach. And so I do think that that's probably a pretty good place. The point of this post, clearly there is an agenda behind this post. Someone wanted to paint J.J. Abrams in a better light. They clearly wanted to do that. That does not mean that there's not a lot of truth in this post. It just means that there's an agenda in place here. I tend to buy it. I also tend to think Disney is stupid. And that's why we got what we got.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. And that's where I'll leave that. I don't know that we need to keep the article up anymore, Tom.
Well, wasn't there another update that you saw that they actually took off?
Yeah, so there was one other thing, but it's very brief. It's just brief, and you can, if you caught Friday Night Tights over on Nerdrotic's channel, then what you would have seen was we went over the additional post. Now, there's not a whole super bunch in this, but there was one thing that I felt was particularly interesting, and I will share that. Stop screen share screen. But
Yeah, when you had mentioned that, we kind of talked about it a little bit on one of my streams too, and I was so surprised when you mentioned it, and then to find out that it had been deleted, that even more like piqued my curiosity. So I'm glad we're covering it because I didn't know if everyone knew about that here.
Yes. So it was left out. Are you sharing us here? Yeah. Okay. So it was left out. Or it was taken out, but what it was this part right here. They wanted to do some clarifications and making this request of my source to answer a few questions since it's impossible to answer the many questions in the leak post itself. For those asking how I verified the source, they just go on to talk about how it was that they verified the source itself. I don't know that I care because it's still conjecture. I still don't have any reason to believe you, right? Mm-hmm. What is different here is this: my source strongly disagrees with certain aspects of STC. And then after this, there is a missing sentence. It should have been right here in between these two. And the Fandom Menace was in there. They literally said, and the Fandom Menace right there. It is on Nerdrotic. It is on Gary's channel. If you pick through that stream, you can find it.
They didn't say Russian bots?
It didn't say Russian bots.
Wow.
But it does say
they didn't say incel fans?
They did not. This is the Fandom.
Did they call us by name?
They called us by our proper name.
Y'all, we made it.
We have. We're in a Reddit post.
We are humans now.
We have made it. We're humans. Fantastic.
But you know how it goes.
Goal.
Speak the name of your enemy and you give them power. So they took it out. They took it out because they are scared.
I think it's great. They didn't want to give us that once it was being reported that they had mentioned it. Like, oh shit, we gotta take this off real quick so that they don't realize that we do recognize who they are.
Yeah.
Too late.
Look, J.J. Abrams already said our name, guys. We know you know who we are. We know you're watching right now. Hi.
Hello.
We're not scary, are we?
Well, JJ's been a fan of ours for a while
really
because
scary.
you know, Midnight's Edge has always been a pain in Trek's ass. So, I just want to say though that Cal Clay one, the Canadian $2. My last three and others missed. Petty, I know you. I hope you got them. We did get them. I just want to make sure that I did read that again out loud, so you know I did get that one too. We did miss one of Matt G's. Also, Finn wanted to tell Ray I'm not doing Disney Plus. That's what he wanted to tell Ray. They ain't Disney Plus.
I love it.
Is that what he says? Something like that?
Like, hell no.
They won't Disney Plus me.
I love it.
You've
No,
already
yeah,
Boyega is our guy.
You already turned me into a cuck in every movie you've put me in. I'm not putting myself back through that shit. You cannot.
Yeah.
Right?
Boyega
Yeah,
for
I'm not
that.
going to let you put me in a show just to bring on another diverse female character to, literally outdo me in every single way or completely copy my storyline. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so lame, and that was so like the episode of South Park where
Yeah.
the black girl moved to town and
Black token or whatever.
And it's so
Tried to
JJ
force
to be
them
like,
together,
what's better than one black person that has left the empire? Oh,
Now
but
you
we
have
do.
two.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do two.
Yes.
Let's do
and
two.
they can relate to each other.
And one's female.
Right.
And one's
Guys,
female because you have to balance it out.
It's the only way they could possibly relate to one another. If they were both black defecting stormtroopers who were force sensitive and had been taken away from their family when they were children.
Despite the fact that Ray's had a hard on, or Finn's
had a hard on for Ray.
so-
Poor guy.
Yeah.
It's the only way they could ever relate to one another as human beings. You have to make them exactly alike in every way
Exactly
possible.
alike.
Except. How about if we give the other one a vagina?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and a bow and arrow.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Because she's got to be Warrior Princess.
Brilliant. Cut, print. Let's take it to the work. Yep, we're done. We got it.
Yep.
Barely an inconvenience. D. Oberg sends us $2. Was there Coca-Cola product placement as rumored? I don't remember any.
So.
Unless that was something that stemmed from the thing that Disney, the Disney theme park thing where they've got the thermal detonator Coke bottles.
That and they have Coke
Nothing.
bottles that have lightsabers on them.
Things are like $2 more expensive than a regular Coke for like.
And they're like
for like
smaller,
4
aren't they?
For like 4 ounces less of soda.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's stupid.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's all about the money. Money.
round.
But hopefully I didn't.
Stop it,
What
Round.
the hell was that?
banana.
I don't know. It was a loud noise. Well, hopefully, I got all the super chats, and I apologize for the way that StreamYards has been working tonight. Yeah, one thing with the stickers, StreamYards still hasn't updated that to where they come through. So keep that in mind, guys. But otherwise, the other ones, I don't know why it's been so crappy to me tonight. But luckily, I had my backup sitting up here, and I was able to track all them down. And I'm double checking, but I don't think I missed any more. But if I did, somebody please let me know in the chat real quick before we end this. But yeah, speaking of ending this, was there anything more you ladies wanted to say to wrap up this conversation before we head out of here?
I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting moving into the weeks going forward. I will be looking out for any announcements about the JJ cut. I will be keeping an eye out for anything that might validate these Reddit posts. And I think it'll also be interesting to keep an eye on the rise of Skywalker, how it does at the box office. And if they are forced into a position where they have to re-release the film, re-release it, and in fact give us the JJ cut, will that take it to 1.5? Would it manage to get it up there enough to validate it as a movie, as a trilogy? I'm interested. I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
That's what I have to add.
Laura, did you have anything to add before we wrap it up?
All I could say is that I will, as Mary said, is just keep an eye out for any more development on there and compare and contrast to what may have been and what is now. However, I don't hold my breath. I don't, because no matter which way or what we see, it's still the same.
Yeah, it's still a failure.
Yeah.
It's still the same.
Stig Kenobi in the chat. How you doing, good sir?
Hello,
Mary's trying to keep
Stig.
us apart. You know, she told me you were sick this last week.
I did not say he was sick. That is not what I said. I did not say he was sick. I said he needed.
tied up in the basement.
I said he needed a break.
will save you.
Okay.
Hyperbole, people.
Don't worry, I will save you.
All right.
Tom whispering is strange.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save Stig. She's trying to keep us apart. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Trace XL said us $5. No way Finn was getting with Rey. Can you just imagine the screeching from black women and mad another black man is dating a white girl? I don't know if we're quite the ones to comment on that, but
That's a whole different ballpark right there. Oh my God.
so Miss, any final thoughts on this whole Reddit leak thing?
J.J. Abrams is still a ridiculous, moronic hack. Even if he was screwed by Disney, I think if he hadn't been screwed by Disney, maybe the movie would have been like a 6 out of 10, but it wouldn't have been good on my scale, my personal scale, because J.J. Abrams does not know what he's doing. He's not a creative person. He can make things look nice and crack some jokes, but that's all he's got in him. And nothing can change that, not even him being screwed over by Disney.
Well,
If it's true.
yeah, I don't think he really cares. He's got a paycheck and he's got a place to be right after this anyway. So, what a position to be in.
I hope his son learns from his mistakes.
Oh. Well, thank you for that, Miss. And last but not least, Geeky Candy. What'd you think about all this mess?
Fuck it all. No, literally. I really could care. I'm like, I'm so done. Fuck it all. Yeah, pretty much. To the point.
I'm with it.
Sorry. I'm done. Carry on.
No, I was kind of prepared. Be honestly, I was kind of prepared.
Usually I'm quite verbose, but today
exactly. I was waiting for like a good
to the point. So
2-3-minute rant, but that'll do. Yeah. Matt G said another $2. Thank you so much. Anything about Lando referencing his old droid? No. Thankfully, no. And yes, his son is writing Spider-Man comics.
Abrams doesn't destroy. Abrams takes the insides of something out, so it's just a thin. It looks like there's something there, but when you pop it open, it's completely empty. That's what he does. He takes all of everything outside of the whatever mystery box or anything he's created, and there's the illusion of something being there, but it's tissue paper.
The only mystery box in JJ's house is probably his wife's vagina. All right, let's get rolling.
That was rough.
I like that.
Let's face it, he can start shit, but he can't finish it. So why do you think she probably started the Me Too movement? Because she ain't getting any other movement.
He's the vajayjay. She's the one who has the dick.
I know, right? Okay, I've been very mean to JJ, but no, seriously though, this whole thing
saying he can't finish is kind of a sad thing to say for him, though. But I get it.
It's true. He
can't finish.
This was a piss poor job of it in this last movie.
No, I meant regarding his wife.
Well, I may have insinuated that, but that's how you took it. I can't do anything about that.
That's how I always take it.
Hopefully you have a much better ending than JJ's wife. So.
That's what we're talking about, the JJ cut, right? Is that what that was?
Yes, the JJ cut.
Okay.
Absolutely. So let's get on out of here, folks. Mary, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you, and we'll take it back around the bend again.
Alrighty. Well, hi guys. I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Whammon card holder. I really got to get more of these made up and get them sent out to the girls. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about news.
If you quit throwing them away.
No, it's just the same one, but it does have.
No, there's a pile of them next to
There's a pile of them behind you.
Just throw it over there. So
Miss would know. She's in your closet.
she is. So you guys can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about newsy new stuff during the week, and on the weekends, shake it up a little bit and have some fun. So please feel free to come over and check me out.
Shake it
I
up.
really appreciate that. Shake it up. So shit.
Mr. 25% different. That's right. The mystery is which 25% you're going to get. Are you going to get the beginning, or the middle, the ending?
Just the tip.
It's a
Or
surprise.
just the tip? It's a mystery.
I like that.
Total mystery.
Laura, please tell the fine folks out there where they can find you.
Why, hello, everybody. I am your Legends girl trying to make it in this discounted world, and I am here to bring you Legends content. I am your new hope in this bullshit we're seeing. Yes. So please subscribe to my channel. Come on in and join me for some original lore. And you can find me at OG Star Wars. I was going to say Orgy Star Wars.
That's a whole
we're
new
all there
channel.
right now.
Somebody start that now. Holy cow.
And there we go. And then you can find me on Twitter. But yes, just come and find me. Thank you.
And you know what? That made my night. Fan art exhibit said Rickey Gervais would be proud of that joke. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I like this quote though, Santa baby, all this toxicity,
Yeah.
feel like I gotta hop in the shower
I
now.
just had that one up too.
Mhm.
Right?
That's hot.
That is a very nice one. Then we should put that on the back of the t-shirt. Jeffrey Turner.
That would be great.
Megajetti. Hello, Megajetti. JJ finished Felicity, though. That's not saying much. Did he actually finish the whole show? Because all the other shows he started, he never finished. Like that one with Jennifer Garner and the one, the Lost one, he never finished.
Yeah.
Alias was the other one. I couldn't remember the name of.
Yep.
Wasn't there another show in the middle there somewhere he did too that he didn't finish? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but yeah.
But I know there's another one in there. But JJ can't finish. Hey, he's Disney or not, you can blame it on this is why I got so mean there, and I apologize a little bit for those who took any offense to it. But you know what? He's blaming Disney because he couldn't fucking land it. He couldn't land the plane, okay? He's blaming Disney.
Couldn't stick the landing.
Couldn't stick the landing, couldn't do it right, couldn't finish it up, couldn't give us a 6 or a 7 out of 10. No, couldn't even do that, you know. And as much as Mary and Jeremy and all those keep talking about 2 movies, I don't think that would have fixed this because we just got 2 movies of the same shit, just longer and more of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it could be very wrong, but I think I'm very right on that.
I think 2 movies done well might have had a chance.
Maybe, yeah. If you had somebody else involved, if they actually went with, Lucas and maybe had another writer besides Terrio involved, possibly. Mm-hmm. But Johnson already screwed it up. That's the problem. There was a robot cop show he didn't finish, Almost Human, I think, or Being Human. Being Human sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's people still mad Clover. Well, that's because he's just slapped the Cloverfield name on movies that never were Cloverfield to begin with. That's why.
Fringe.
Oh, yeah. Fringe was another one of his. Yeah. So yeah, we want to keep on moving along here. We did get you right, Laura. You got to tell everybody where to find you. So, Miss, it would be your turn. Miss, tell the fine folks out there.
Well, it'd be nice if I knew where I was half the time, but I know sometimes
You're still in the closet, aren't you?
She's moved right on
up.
up.
Couch. I'm at a desk. I'm on the moon. I don't know, but you can find me on YouTube in those many different places under the name Miss Sarcastic Nerd. But I'd like it if you called me Miss. I also have a Twitter if you want to check that out. I'm on there occasionally, and sometimes I say weird shit because I eat a lot of chocolate.
I love this girl.
That's to be my excuse.
If your parents are missing, probably my fault.
No, I'm gonna be like, no, it's not the Ambien, it's the chocolate. Okay, guys, it's the chocolate. Okay,
blame it on whatever you want. I just want to watch.
So if you want to watch, do check out Miss Sarcastic Nerd. She is quite the pistol.
Dude, seriously, this girl is a mad genius. She's the one who came up with the oversized Jeremy Wickerman that I put the peen on there. But
anatomically correct, Jeremy.
She came up with the idea of canceling Jeremy in such a way, and it was brilliant, and we enjoyed it, and it was amazing. So go check her out.
There you go. JJ's now working on a Barney and Friends reboot. Don't give him ideas. Yeah, and that was the other thing, not to go back to it real quick, but the whole delusions of grandeur of him thinking that Disney's trying to tank him to make him look bad for DC. You know what that is? He was scared shitless that Joker was kicking ass and they don't need him no more. That's what that was. But anyway, speaking of Joker, let's move on to one of the funniest ladies we got around here besides Mary Mayhem and the rest of the bunch. Geeky Candy. She shines like any star would on YouTube. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, I am Candace, aka Geeky Candy, and yeah, I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, and I have a Twitter, and I do have a YouTube channel. So come check me out. I just wrapped up Fallen Order, some gameplay last year. I just did a poll on my Twitter, and Witcher 3 won. I have the brand new extended version on the Switch of The Witcher 3. I'm planning to start that gameplay series tomorrow night. So come join me on my channel, and we shall play some Witcher 3, and you can toss some coin to your Witcher there. Haha.
All right. Well, I threw your guys' links in the chat, and also they're in the description if you guys need to find them. And Mary, tell them when we decided we're going to do this show, because I screw it up.
No, okay. So easy,
single time.
easy, guys. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. You can find Toxic Femininity on its permanent home on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For you Central people, that's 9 o'clock. For you Mountain Standard people, that is 8 o'clock. So yes, this is our permanent home for Toxic Femininity. And hopefully we will see you guys here every single week as these beautiful, wonderful ladies break down the nonsense that is in entertainment news for you.
Thank you so much for putting it so eloquently. And yeah, if we have the extra time ahead of time, you might check out me and Mary doing like a pre-show like we did tonight. I thought that was kind of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Kind of warming things up. So, all right, folks, thanks again for joining us, and super thanks for the super chats. We couldn't do this without you guys. Do share the link, do comment, do like. If you didn't like the show, hit the dislike. It's still it's still a what do you call it? Interaction. Demogenize in the chat. God, we've had so many great people show up in the chat between Proper Justin and everybody else we haven't had a chance to say hi to. And of course, we had some fun with Stig and all that kind of stuff. So yes, again, and Script Doctor, of course, showed up too. So thank you guys for popping in, all our friends, and of course, all you guys who always support us so much here on, Toxic Femininity and the other channels, of course. So, if we couldn't do it if it wasn't for you. So hopefully this is to a great new year. We had a great start so far, I think. Great show, everybody. So take care and have a good night from all of us here at Toxic Femininity and Midnight.
Proving that the Fandom Menace isn't just toxic white males, it's Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge, with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself,